Hello, 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 everyone. Hello. And I apologize. I had some technical difficulties this morning, so I am very, very late this morning. I apologize to everyone. I hope everyone weren't they didn't put themselves too much out of the way. But thank you for joining me anyway. Thank you for everyone who decided to stick it out and stick with me. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. And let's see here. I'm going to start the stream off with a super chat by Angel of Thy Sword. The Angel of Thy Sword sent me a super chat before I got here because I was unfortunately, again, very late. Naughty, naughty me. Let's see here. Angel of Thy Sword, thank you much for the 10. Appreciate it. Says, won't be making the stream, leaving this here. I think you should be a college professor. I believe I've maintained more long-term knowledge from this channel than any course I've ever taken. Truth. Oh, appreciate that. Awesome. Awesome. I would like to hear when I at least help someone a little bit, at least a little bit, even if it's entertaining or otherwise. But it's always nice to see or hear when it's about me being able to enlighten somebody or something like that, or you taking some positivity away from anything I do. That's great. It's wonderful. Awesome. 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 I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Hope everyone is doing fantastic. Fantastic. Hope everyone is being safe. First and foremost, being safe. Let's see. Let me see here. 1 second. We get this. Sure, got everything squared away. Let's see here. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. So, good morning, chat. Good morning. Well, for me, it's still good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Uh, let's see. Well, I have some interesting things for us today. Some interesting things, and including the video we were going to cover yesterday, we'll be covering it today. Let's see. And here we go. Here we go. In case you didn't know, if in case you're new, morning nonsense streams are all kept, as it says here in the banner, on a channel playlist. So if you have missed the previous episodes, you want to go back, except for the ones, of course, that have been deleted by YouTube for some reason, and then, well, you can go ahead and check it out on the channel playlist. This is under the tab called playlists, and the playlist is called Morning Nonsense. And after that, you can go ahead and watch away, watch to your heart's content. Barry Ben, did you remove the gremlins? Oh, absolutely. As far as I know, the gremlins are gone. They might return. I don't know. But the everything is fine now. It should be. It should be anyway. It should be. So let's see. Let's see what we have for today. Oh, right, right, right. Let's see here. Mhm. I wanted to open up the stream chat because I have been exposed, chat. I have been exposed. My secrets are out, and I have been canceled. And by none other than the great Hero Hey, I've been exposed as a filthy degenerate. Let's check it out. Uh, I apologize, chat. I wanted to keep this. I wanted to keep this secret. I want to keep this hidden, but I have no choice. I feel I have no choice but to get the truth out there, but to lay all of my sins to bear. So let's check it out.
Since I'm stuck at home, as many of you are as well, I've been trying to fix my sleeping schedule since I'm here anyways.
For those of you who didn't know, I was on a stream on Saturday with Yellow Flash, Raging Golden Eagle, and that Umbrella guy, and think Gothic Sushi. And I thought Yellow Flash lead the streams, but unfortunately, it seems that someone keeps his streams up. It archived the stream, so I was unfortunate for me, and now I am exposed, and all my sins and secrets are laid to bear. But Hero Hey caught us, chat. Hero Hey caught us and rightfully exposed our degeneracy.
Get to bed early. Wake up early. I knew that I missed a live stream from my buddy Yellow Flash and some other good people on the show, and I decided to go see what that was all about because, Flash doesn't stream that often. When he does, it's usually a good time. So I went to take a look. You might be thinking to yourself, well, Flash deletes his live streams, as we pretty much all do. However, Cornbread Man, shouts out to Cornbread Man. He's a great archivist. He does a great job.
Curse you, Cornbread Man. Curse you. We would have gotten away with it if it weren't for your cornbread, your meddling cornbread.
Archiving live streams, and so I went to Cornbread Man's channel to take a look. What I found shocked me to the core. It disturbed me more than a night on Reddit No Sleep would.
Fapping.
Yeah. Hey,
that would lie. That's
I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. This is real life. I know it doesn't seem like it. This is what actually happened. We go, I go. You're now doing it with me as well. You know that sounds a little weird given the context. This is what happened though. Go to the stream, the video, the VOD, the video on demand, and
Whatever you do, chat, do not go to Cornbread Man and look up all of his wonderful, wonderful videos. He exposed us, chat. How dare he? How dare he?
I met with them talking about fapping.
Fapping.
This is 4 dudes together. You know, if you want to engage in that sort of activity, by all means, I would encourage you to do so. There's a lot of great women out there who deserve respect and attention. This is 4 dudes, though, in a call together. Right before, to make it even worse, right before a live stream that they're supposed to do, they're talking about this. And, you know, we talked about reality. The reality is, I'm not just mad because I wasn't invited to the stream or the call, because I didn't want to go anyways. I didn't even want to go to that stream. So
No, of course not. Of course not. Why would you want to be there? It's disgusting. Why would you want to get down in the dirt with us disgusting degenerates?
it doesn't even matter. This is absolutely, as a cultured individual, I have to point out the unculturedness of these 4 men getting together, talking about this thing. And if it wasn't even, you know, as bad as it is already, take a look at this next part.
All right, I just finished. Oh, we are live.
This guy is also talking about finishing.
That's right. You heard that correctly, chat. Yellow Flash is a new DSP. Yeah, he finished and then he went live, and that's what happened. That's why he had to wait. That's why we're all waiting for him to finish, and talking about fapping, all that stuff. So we kind of had to wait for him to finish, and then we went live. We didn't know anyone caught that. That's unfortunate. Let's see.
I don't know exactly what he's talking about. However, given the circumstances and the context right before that, I think the implication is pretty heavy. It's pretty thick. It's a pretty thick and heavy implication. And they took it even further. I mean, can you imagine that they invited Gothic Sushi onto the stream moments before they're talking about fapping? They invite her into the call. Did she have any idea what occurred in that call? What's in that call just floating around? Oh my gosh. And just ignore the tentacles coming out of her mouth. Gothic Sushi absolutely must be protected from such deviancy. Anyways, I was holding that in all morning. It's good to finally have my release because, again, I just went to the stream, the VOD, to see what I missed, expecting a nice, wholesome stream from these fine gentlemen, and I was absolutely taken back by what actually occurred there.
To be fair, Hero Hey, why would you ever come into a stream that has all 4 of us in it and expect something wholesome?
Truly, thank you for tuning in and listening. I feel much better now. Real talk, though. Good people. They're good people. Shout out to them. Yellow Flash, that Umbrella Guy, Raging Golden Eagle, Literature Devil, and Gothic Sushi. And shout out to the kind people who promoted yesterday's video over on Twitter. It's going to be Oblivion's Eddie, Striker Red, Intimidator0108, On the Brain, Icarus, Coden X, Shogun, Wesley Day Agio. Apparently, I said that wrong.
Oh, there we go, chat. The sins have been laid bare. Obviously, that was a April Fool's joke by Hero Hey. There's no backstabbing going on, no real backstabbing. I know some people got angry with him because it seems like a petty attack or something like that, but you have to wait to the very end. You have to wait to the very end. Obviously, it was a April Fool's joke. And today's April Fool's Day, so I think it was perfect to play today. Perfect to play this morning. So there you have it, chat. There you have it. I feel refreshed now. I feel relieved now that all my secrets have been revealed. Anyway, let's see here. I think I saw someone. Let me see here. I did say he's welcome to join your morning stream. Oh yeah, he is. He is. If Hero Hey wants to join the morning stream, let's have him reach out to me or something. And if he wants to wake up this early, then he can come on. No problem. I'll be glad to have him on. I guess I'll get some anime stuff to talk about. Anyway, chat. Anyway, we got some nice stuff to go over today. Now, I found this channel, and here's the thing. Let's see here. This is a channel that really, really pointed out something about Star Trek Picard that I kind of noticed, but they really, really do a nice comparison. Now, have you ever heard of the game Mass Effect? Star Trek Picard really, really stole from Mass Effect. This is how the Force Awakens kind of stole from the A New Hope. This kind of copied and pasted from a Force Awakens to A New Hope, or New Hope to a Force Awakens. Yeah, the Picard essentially did just that, but with Mass Effect. So check this out. So this is from a channel called Major Grin, and he compares Picard to Mass Effect, and actually shows us the comparison. And here's the beginning with the Reaper's horn. Reapers is actually so in Mass Effect. There is a race called the Reapers, which come by every so often once organic life becomes too advanced, and then wipes out all organic life, and then like keeps I believe keeps all of the synthetic life around. I say Gojira 387. So the Church of Devil is developing a reputation for his backup plan. If YouTube goes cancel happy, he's moving on to cancel China Pornhub. Yes, I think it's that is actually a plan of many a YouTuber. If YouTube gets too crazy, too strict, and doesn't allow anyone on except for the whiny man babies or whatever, and then a lot of YouTubers have said that they'd go over to Pornhub because Pornhub obviously, well, they allow a lot of more stuff on Pornhub than they do on YouTube. So I've heard actual YouTubers mention that. I think the Amazing Atheist said he'd do that. A few other YouTubers said they'd move to Pornhub if things get way too crazy. Let's see here. Let's see. So let's check this out. So what I was saying was that Mass Effect has a race called the Reapers, and the whole plot kind of revolves around the Reapers in the first game anyway. And the Reapers come by every once in a while, and they wipe out all organic life. And in Picard, synthetic life was created, and the Romulans don't like synthetic life because, in their mind, according to them, and they happen to be right, synthetic life will eventually become too advanced, and they will call upon some sort of entity from who knows dimensions away or galaxies away that will wipe out all organic life for the sake of synthetic life, which is basically what the Reapers do. And they even use similar sound effects in Picard as opposed to Mass Effect. So let's check it out. Let's check it out.
No, don't touch him. It's too dangerous.
From what you've told me about the one on Mars, these beacons are a motherload of information.
I can't believe my people would keep this a secret.
You did say
Well, they really stole a lot from Mass Effect, didn't they? Because if you haven't seen Mass Effect, I mean, you haven't seen Picard yet. They do the same exact memory blasting thing. One of the, I think it was, I forget was it Ho or was it whatever her name was. She was an undercover Romulan / Vulcan who infiltrated the highest echelons of Starfleet, and she actually used this technique on one of the doctors. She goes, "Okay, I'm going to mind meld with you. I'm going to inject all these memories," and she gets these memories exactly like that, exactly like they do in Mass Effect. Exactly, there's like no difference.
this temple was thousands of years old, Liara.
Your remaining time is also at an end. The same peaks of evolution, the same valleys of dissolution.
Long ago.
Galactic annihilation. You now stand at that precipice.
If they wanted all organic life destroyed, they could do it. There would be nothing left.
Your lives are measured in years and decades. You wither and die. We are eternal.
When they realize their creations do not age, or become sick, or die. And in so doing,
Wow, Shay, I didn't even know it was this close. I knew they kind of ripped off the entire plot, the entire premise. I didn't know they stole this much from Mass Effect though. They stole like the memory exchange thing. They stole this. They stole the eternal thing as opposed to the eternal synthetics versus the not so eternal organics. And they kind of stole everything from Mass Effect. So, and the people who have made this film or made this series have been so arrogant about it. They've been trying to say they've been trying to push themselves off as brilliant, but all they've been doing is the exact same thing that J.J. Abrams did. Was just they couldn't think of anything on their own, and they just stole the plot from Mass Effect. Like they wanted to do a Mass Effect TV series, but they couldn't do that, so they made a Star Trek one instead. And they wanted to use Star Trek Picard to, well, make their Mass Effect TV series. Let's see, Pepper Lives 34 links. Thank you much for the 2. Appreciate it. Good morning, the dev. Well, good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. KH, thank you much for the 2. Appreciate it. Good morning. Seems like I'm late. No, I don't worry. I was really late this morning, so we're gonna have a little extra long show just to make up for that as a penance. So I have a video to cover and a few articles to cover, and we'll see where that takes us, Chad. We'll see where that takes us. Let's go ahead and finish this. It's no doubt going to be fantastic. What other things did they actually steal from, or blatantly, unashamedly, and unapologetically steal from Picard? I mean, not from Picard. But what did Picard steal from Mass Effect?
Destroy themselves.
Your extinction is inevitable. We are the end of everything. The time of our return is coming.
That all advanced organic life had been extinguished. This is why we sent our warning through the beacons.
Warning us of the horror and annihilation.
They even have beacons, Chad. They even have beacons and warnings and all kinds of stuff. This is, I'm pretty sure Mass Effect could sue at this point. They just stole it. They stole it and they put skin, like the Star Trek skin over it. I didn't even know they could do this. It's really ridiculous. That's interesting. That is interesting. Wow, I knew they ripped off some aspects of Mass Effect. I knew they ripped off a huge portions of Mass Effect. The whole organics versus synthetics thing, which is actually a big thing in Mass Effect. What I didn't know was how much they actually ripped off from Mass Effect. That's a lot of stuff, chat. It's a lot of stuff. Beacons, Reapers. They had Reapers in Picard. They didn't call them Reapers, obviously. I mean, I guess they didn't want to be that blatant about it. But they had Reapers. They had the tension between organics and synthetics. They had beacons warning people about things. They had the same exact memory rush, the prediction thing that you get when you're mined from Mass Effect. You get that in Picard also. It's presented almost exactly the same way. Almost exactly the same way. It's ridiculous. Now they have beacons. And what else? I wonder what else they stole from them. I really wonder. Oh, let's see here. Let's see what else they have, chat. Let's see what other secrets, dirty secrets they have. Check it out.
That came.
To my horror and outrage, what I thought I saw was a ripoff.
That was a nice ending. Let's see that one again. Let's see that one again. Let me rewind a little bit.
To my horror and outrage, what I thought I saw was a ripoff.
I think I found a new clip, chat. What do you think? I think I found a new clip for my little roster here. What do you think, chat?
Oh, dear.
New clip. Let's go ahead and take that one down. What I think I saw was a ripoff. I see KH. Thank you very much for the 5. Appreciate it. It seems like Picard took LD's advice on writing a few weeks ago too literally. Oh, what do you mean? Emulate the ones that you like, or emulate something that you like? Or you mean fan fiction? The fan fiction thing where if you're brand new at writing, go ahead and practice in fan fiction. Yeah, I didn't mean to just go ahead and make your own thing and just not even make your own thing. I didn't even say they didn't even make their own thing. They took a franchise that's already established, and then they just essentially just combined Star Trek and Mass Effect, but put it on the Star Trek label. So that's what happened. That's what happened. I think this is such a blatant ripoff. It's ridiculous. No, staying on the subject of Picard, Now that we know it's how much of a trash ripoff it was, and how the creators should be utterly ashamed of themselves for being. I mean, it's one thing to take inspiration from a different source. It's one thing to take one thing entirely to take inspiration from different sources. Okay, it's another thing entirely to just copy and paste the source and then put your work on it, put your name on it. That's essentially what they did here. They copied so many things. They just blatantly copied so many things from Mass Effect. They should be ashamed of themselves. In fact, Undoomed, if you know the YouTuber Undoomed, he's kind of pulled back on his video production as of late, but he produced a video on Picard because of how blatantly it's how so many problems existed in this show. Chat, so many problems existed in this show. So let's see here. Let's see here. Reconciliation, thanks for the $1.99. Appreciate it. Also, Tardigrades and Star Trek Discovery, Kurtzman. I haven't seen Star Trek Discovery. I've not actually been able to muster up the courage to see Star Trek Discovery, but you know, I guess I will have to eventually. I really don't want to. It looks painful. It looks like the Last Jedi of Star Trek. It looks awful. It's utterly awful. John Malin, welcome to the chat. Welcome, welcome. We're having a wonderful morning. Let's see, a supercomputer cured Corona Day. Oh, that's fantastic. A supercomputer just cured coronavirus. That's great. I hope we get the cure out soon. It'd be awesome. Awesome. Let's see here. Daniel Lindsay, they did poorly too. Yeah, they did very poorly. Very, very poorly. And as you know, Mass Effect itself has a bunch of problems on its own. So there you have it. There you have it. Let's see here. Yeah, Joshua V, this is not a place to practice. Yeah, Star Trek's not a place to practice. You're supposed to be, or at least, I mean, you can practice with Star Trek, with fan fiction, but don't publish it. You're not supposed to publish it. Okay? You're not supposed to go out and make your own show as a practice. Don't do that. If you're going to practice the Star Trek, you write your fan fiction in Star Trek, and then you go ahead and you put it out there for people to read and then critique. Okay? You don't ruin everyone's decades of fandom. You don't ruin decades old character by making an official canonical series with your practice. Let's see here. John Malin, thank you very much for the $1.99. Appreciate that. Supercomputer cured Corona today. I really hope that's true. That'd be fantastic. You can't underestimate those supercomputers. You know, the synthetics. They'll solve all of our problems, and then they'll come get us. Thank you very much, John Rayland. Appreciate it. And see, Gojira 387. These Hollywood pros seem incapable of anything except copying better works from the past. Yeah, that seems to be the case. At least all these with these major franchises. I mean, that's why John Wick is like skyrocketing to the top, because it's actually something unique and original, more or less. Obelisk Titans, thank you very much for the $7.99. Picard should be he and other old captains pick new young captain or groups of 3 or more to give new ships to. Damn Regurgitator. Yeah. That'd be interesting if they relegated Picard to take a mentor role. Like, what I want for Picard was something like a lot more subtle, a lot more stationary. Him having just, I wanted the Vineyard to be one of the main settings for the show, and he being able to get him being dragged out of retirement, and kind of not forced, but kind of obligated to step into a new diplomatic situation that he had to solve, and he has to work alongside with this newbie captain who thinks they know what they're doing, and the newbie captain gets taught lessons by Picard, and they all learn. And it more or less comes down to him having to save the day with his diplomatic skills. That's what Picard was. He wasn't this world-hopping adventurer like they try to portray him in Picard. He was a diplomat. He was a talker. That's what his main weapon was, the Picard speech. But that's not what they gave us. They gave us James T. Kirk, but in Picard's body. It was interesting. And it was a more subtle Picard, a kind of a more subdued Picard. And the Picard of old would come in and just telegraph you off, like, you help me out right now, okay? And he would give her like a Picard speech. He would scold her and give Raffi a Picard speech and convince her to come along with him without having to go to that song and dance of, oh, it's all his fault, it's all his fault, it's all his fault. because he's a man. He has to take all the blame for everything. And then he would have stood up against Elnor. He would stood up against Elnor and say, "Stop being a child. This is much bigger than you," or something like that. He would have brought the. That's what one thing Picard was doing. He was able to. The basis of most of his speeches was able to bring the perspective into play. Okay, stop with your petty egos. Stop with your petty your politics and your how you feel personally, personal feelings, and look at the giant perspective. And that's what the Picard speech was. That's what Picard was able to do. So it wouldn't be, "Oh, I'm sorry," and he's sulking away and getting told off by all these characters. That happens every single time he has to meet a new character. They always blame him for something. It's always something it was his fault, and then he sulks and goes away. And then they join him out of pity or something. It's not Picard. Picard would stand up and give him up a speech and say, "This is for the good of the universe. Okay, it doesn't matter what I've done. I'm sorry for whatever I've done, but he shouldn't blame. He shouldn't have let my own personal sins doom the universe." Something like that. So he's really good at putting things in perspective. Let's see here. Benzi, thanks for the 5. Appreciate it. Elmao, Lamau, when the only ideas they have are safe space and Snowflake, you can blame them for copywriting everyone else. Yeah, they didn't even come up with safe space and Snowflake on their own. They stole that from us because we kept calling all these weirdos, all these NPCs and SJWs, snowflakes, and then they came up with safe space because they want a safe space to they want, because like all tyrants, they want utter control over you, chat. They want utter control over your lives. And what better way to call a zone of control than a safe space? Sounds way better than we just control you here now. So that's a tyrannical speak for this. We want everyone to be placed into a safe space, which is code for we want everyone under our direct control, where we can cancel everyone anytime we want who steps out of line. So unfortunately, that's what happened. That they can't think of anything on their own, chat. It seems that the SJW NPC politics has poisoned their minds so much they can't think of anything on their own. It just obliterates the creativity. It obliterates their sense of humor and certainly obliterates their creativity. So let's see. Okay, here we go. Criminal Imagination, thank you much for the 5. Appreciate that. But this was made out of hatred for the franchise and everyone who supported it, so it's malfiction. Yeah, that's a really good that's a good point, because he actually admitted that he made decisions. The showrunner of Picard purposely made decisions that would anger longtime fans. Which was a mistake, because obviously what they should be doing is
course correction to appeal to big dumb fanboys.
Yeah, because that's exactly what they should be doing. They should be appealing to us big dumb fanboys, chat. That's the lesson they haven't learned. They want to steer away from us big dumb fanboys. That's one thing they want to really, really do, is steer away from the big dumb fanboys that we are. But they should be appealing to us big dumb fanboys. Okay, that's we are the ones who give them attention and love and money, and most of all, of course, money. So that's a mistake. It's always been a big gigantic mistake of these modern creators and these modern showrunners and movie creators to steer away from us, to stay away from the long established fan base. Big mistake. And they're feeling it. They're really feeling it. And that's a really clever name to call it, malfiction. It's not fan fiction. I mean, it's not fan fiction because they hate it. You call it fan fiction because it's a fan writing a story in the franchise or universe that they love. But these people clearly do not love the franchise. These people clearly just not only feel apathetic, not only do they not love it, they outright seemingly hate it. The people who run Star Wars, people who run Star Trek, people who run Doctor Who, and all these other wonderfully established franchises, they actively hate them, and they hate us. They hate us, the big dumb fanboys. They hate us, chat. And so, yeah, I think it's a perfect, more accurate term of what we're seeing here is malfiction. The bad fiction, the hatred fiction. The ones that want to demonize us and the show and all of its main characters. So let me see if I caught everyone. Here we go. HK47 for life. Thank you much for the 2. Appreciate it. Kirk strategy. What if I made out with it? Yeah, that's not Picard. Kirk's strategy basically boiled down to can I kiss it or can I punch it? If I can't do that, then I guess we're just going to find something else to do. Picard's strategy was, can I tuck it down? Can I outsmart it? That's what that's what Picard was supposed to be. Picard was supposed to be just older Kirk. Okay, it was supposed to be the next generation was supposed to star an older Kirk, and that's where they got Picard from. It was supposed to be a more wise, like a more strategy centered Picard, not Picard, like a combination of Picard and Kirk. But Kirk, oh, it's supposed to be more strategy centered Kirk, where he's supposed to be older, less willing to jump the gun, less willing to jump into action, more willing to negotiate, more willing to just talk things out. But that didn't happen, so they made a whole new captain and named him Picard. So yeah, Picard is supposed to be less brash. It's supposed to be less adventurous, less action oriented, and more oriented on negotiation and diplomacy. I see Rock and Sailor for $99. Appreciate it. Picard should have become Booth B. Full. I was saying that Picard should become like a full blown mentor type, or just like the groundskeeper at Starfleet Academy. It could be either or. It could be either or. Let's see here. Mark in 3D, thank you very much for the 400, whatever that is. Appreciate it. No engage to this crap. Yeah, it's really hard to engage with Picard. I mean, I liked the first few episodes. I thought had a promising beginning. It obviously had problems, but I could look over a lot of that stuff because I really like Star Trek. But kind of slumped in the middle, and I thought it would get better like The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian started off strong, kind of just slump in the middle, and then ended strong. I thought the same thing might happen with Picard. Unfortunately, it didn't. It just started off strong, not really strong, but started off fine, started off watchable, and then it just kind of plummeted to the world. It kind of plummeted to Earth and crash landed. It was ridiculous. And what did you do, Picard? What did you do, Star Trek Picard? It was ridiculous. I thought it was, it was a joke at first that they're kind of ripping off Mass Effect, and then they ripped off everything from Mass Effect. It really was Mass Effect, the plot. It was ridiculous. Can they not think of anything on their own? Oh, it was horrible. It was horrible. I think it was the third to last episode that really lost me. The one where they finally found the little colony of synthetics. That one was the one that told me that there's no getting better. There's no getting better. It's a lost cause. Let's see here. Ben Z, thanks for 2. OMFG, yes, you actually clipped it My Hero. Oh, you mean the big dumb fanboys thing? Of course I did. Of course I did. I couldn't let something that golden slip out of my fingers. I couldn't. You know why, Chad? Because
Course correction to appeal to big dumb fanboys.
That's the best piece of advice we can give to modern media. Okay, stop with your woke nonsense and make the course correction to appeal to us big dumb fanboys. Okay, that's the best thing you can do. That's the best strategy you can come up with. That's the ideal strategy you should be doing right now. Is appealing to us big dumb fanboys, not the people who actually who either don't watch Star Trek or don't watch your franchise or actively hate it. Those are not the people you want to be trying to serenade with your love songs or hate songs in this scenario. Let's see here. KH, thank you very much for the 2. Appreciate it. Damn, they really did Patrick Stewart dirty for it. Yeah, they did. All the cursing and the contemporary language, they really brought Star Trek down. The ideal future. I know they kind of did that in previous series where they brought down the ideal future somewhat. They did that for narrative purposes. They did that for story purposes, not because they wanted to be more connected with the current day or be more woke. Because for some reason, these SJWs and NPCs really delight in thinking that they're edgy or they're being rebellious by cursing and being vulgar when they're not. It's just vulgar. They're not being rebellious any. Because if you notice, all these SJWs, they like to paint themselves in a weird combination of like child friendly, and they chalk down to children, and they always use child friendly colors, and they make child friendly looking characters all nice and round and plump, and then they stick in like weirdness into it, and then they start cursing and being vulgar. So it's like if they essentially if they had the control, they would make Barney the Dinosaur, but with more with nudity in it. Okay, they would make Barney the Dinosaur like curse and moon the audience. That's essentially that's the perfect image to sum up what they want, what the HWs want. They want Barney the Dinosaur mooning the audience and cursing. Not as a joke, but as an actual continuity of Barney the Dinosaur. Like not as a parody, but as a serious episode. That's what they would want. And it's very, very strange and disturbing. Rocket Hilliard for $99. Appreciate it. Kirk was the best captain overall. Sisko tied for 1. My favorite is Sisko, obviously. I really like Sisko. He punched out a literal deity. Well, no, he wasn't a deity, but he punched out Q, which is close as you can get to a deity. And then that was it. Q never came back to DS9. I mean, Q played off as if, oh, this is gonna be a lot of fun. I'm gonna have a lot more fun with you, Benjamin Sisko, because you're a lot easier, you're a lot more riled up. But the last we saw from Q on DS9 was Captain Sisko punching out an omnipotent, godlike being, and then him never returning. So, as far as we saw with Picard often clashed with Q with words and verbal turns of phrase and everything like that. And Q kept bothering him over and over again. Captain Sisko, however, punched him in the jaw, knocked him flat on his back, never came back. So I'll leave that to your interpretation, chat. I'll leave that to your interpretation. Let's see here. Tyler Preston, thank you much for the 2. Appreciate it. Saw the Vagrant Queen trailer. It was vomit-inducing, it looks like. Oh, yeah. When these things start to come out, when these things really start to come out, I'm going to maybe we might cover them on the stream. I think that'd be a good idea. We can experience the cringe together. Anyway, chat. Anyway, let's see. Let's see what because our buddy Undoomed kind of. Because I know a lot of other channels like Doomcock and a bunch of other people who cover this Picard. They cover it, but they cover it in several videos. We don't really have time for that at the moment, as I didn't want to spend so much time on covering several videos on what the all the intricate and detailed problems with Picard are. But Undoomed has confirmed to me that he is a Trekkie. He does understand the franchise. So, and he released like one video so far as I know, summing up all the problems with Picard from beginning to the end. So I think this is good. It's a good video to go over. Not too much, not too long. And we're going to see what he points out as with problems with Picard. Some things I didn't even think about because honestly, I wasn't thinking about Picard in a critical way. I was just trying to enjoy it. But it's so bad. Like Picard became so bad after a while. I just couldn't. I couldn't. It's terrible. At the very end, I believe me, chat. Okay, I'm telling you truthfully and honestly. I really wanted to enjoy Picard. I really tried to enjoy Picard, but but Picard just wouldn't let me. Like it's not for fans. Obviously, it's not for fans of Star Trek, which is a weird way to go. It's a weird way to go. But obviously, Picard is not for fans of Star Trek. They try to really reel you in with nostalgia the first few episodes, especially with the inclusion of 7 of 9. I didn't even care that they paired up 7 of 9 with Raffi, because I've seen things like that happen before, where the two people who have lost so much can let's see, two people who have lost so much and have gone through so much together can be put together by some extraordinary circumstances. Like they've gone through so much and they've endured so many things and they lost so much themselves that they found something significant in each other. So I can kind of buy that, I guess. I kind of buy that. That didn't bother me so much because as long as it's just tragic because it's going to be temporary. Like if they write that correctly, if Raffi and 7 of 9 kind of got together and just like that, and the writers write it correctly, which I'm pretty sure they won't. Well, if they do, then it's going to be temporary. Like they're going to be separated fairly soon. Like it's going to be like a fling, like a very short time thing. It's going to be very tragic. As if they did it right. If they did it right. Anyway, what's really funny about that, though, right? What's really funny about that, 7 of 9. Stay with me, chat, because it's going to get kind of interesting because they're playing into something touted by Milo Yiannopoulos. the number one supervillain of the far leftist SJW nonsense people. But here's the thing. So Seven of Nine in Voyager was always portrayed as straight. She fantasized about men. She fell in love with Chakotay. So she was portrayed as straight, 100% straight in Voyager. Raffi had a husband and a son. So there was no indication that she was anything other than straight herself. Milo Yiannopoulos once made an argument. He once wrote a paper that was received critically, to say the least. But he wrote a paper. He wrote an article on Breitbart before he quit and all that stuff, saying that lesbians do not exist. And of course, Milo Yiannopoulos is known for his very polarizing, we'll say, or very anger-inducing in some people. Those sort of titles. And that's where I got the idea to title one of my videos "Comic Book or Superhero Comics Are for Men." For that exact reason, didn't have a nice, interesting argumentation afterwards. But essentially, in his article, "Lesbians Don't Exist," or "Lesbians Aren't Real," his argumentation is that female sexuality is more it's more malleable than male sexuality. So that while he is himself a homosexual man, it's when it comes to men, his argumentation is that it's more black and white. Well, it's more ambiguous when it comes to women, and that's what instantly I was reminded of when I saw the 7 and 9 and Raffi just hold hands. Was that wow? They're actually proving Milo Yiannopoulos right. There's out of nowhere just lesbian now, huh? So, yeah, they it's more about passion and love. Doesn't matter who it is really, and that's what Milo Yiannopoulos argued, and I thought it was ridiculous. But then they keep proving him right over and over again with these with with these new creators and SJWs and NPCs failing to give proper credence and proper build up to these sorts of relationships. Like your boy Zach said, in Marvel Comics, there's a strange phenomenon where because they're so oriented on putting together lesbian relationships and everything in Marvel Comics, that if two lesbians enter a room, they are automatically in there. They're automatically together. Okay, they're automatically together. Oh, let's see here. I think they call them lesbian magnates. So, that's where it goes. That's where it goes, chat. Hold on, chat. Hold on. Someone just sent me a video I think we should enjoy before we get into this. It looks funny. It looks funny. So I think we'll cover this real quick. It's not that long. It's not that long at all. Hold on, chat. Hold on. If this is based on the idea, what I'm thinking it's based on, it's going to be hilarious. Okay. To Cage and Much with 5, I don't mind lesbian stuff if they have making out scenes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that will get everyone on board. I think a lot of people said that they didn't mind that. They didn't mind that because for that reason, lesbian scenes, lesbian relationships don't really anger men as much as these SJWs like to think they do. I just thought that was funny. Like I didn't really care that 7-9 ended up with Raffi. It doesn't really matter to me. I didn't really like Raffi because who is she? She just keeps yelling at Picard every once in a while. That's her whole character, is yelling at Picard, and then suddenly they're in love with each other. I don't know. These people, they obviously don't understand organics, which is why they like to champion the heroism of synthetics. They don't know how humans work. Okay, it's very, very awkward. But anyway, let's check this out real quick before we get into the Undoomed video about Picard. I think this will be funny. Someone sent this to me just a little while ago, I think. Let's see here. If you've seen Full Metal Jacket, okay, when we covered, we saw a few episodes ago, when we covered Marvel and New Warriors, and I said that, okay, we just need to straight up fire all your editorial staff and just hire high school bull Okay, we're back, chat. We're back. We're back. I know. Oh, oh man. I apologize about that one, chat. But I'm back. I'm back. It's just not my day today, chat. It's just not my day. It's not my day. I know so many people left when I left. So many people. Thank you very much for those of you who stuck with me. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. But we're back, chat. We're back. I was getting things back up and running. I had another little technical difficulty. But we're back up and running. If you would like to stick with me still. Okay, so let's see here. Now, show's not over yet. Remember, it's going to be extra long today. That was a computer technicality. That was an internet gas. I'm full up on internet gas. I assure you, chat. I assure you. Let's see here. So anyway, before we get into this, okay, if you remember from last time I covered the New Warriors, I said that Marvel should pretty much just straight up fire their editorial staff, and let's see here, and just hire high school bullies, because I think they need some bullies over there. To really whip these people up into shape, whip these Marvel writers into shape. They need some bullies over there. Okay, it's just how it's happening, how it's going on. Because if you're so arrogant and full of yourself and think it's brilliant that you put out something like the New Warriors, then you need someone to tell you no. Okay, you need someone to say. Not only do you need someone to say no to you, you need someone to say what's a dumb idea. When an idea is dumb, and to say no, we're not greenlighting this nonsense. I go back into the writing room, and just remove the head from your posterior, and give us something we can actually use and sell. Let's see here. So someone sent me this video recently, just a while ago. I thought it was really funny. If I haven't seen it yet, but so let's check it out. It goes in that same idea. So let's see what happens. Put up by Noble Commando, and I guess the Noble Commando is the one that put it together. So let's check it out. Let's see what he put together for us. I think this might be pretty amusing if I think it is.
My name is Daniel Kibble.
Because it kind of puts in Sergeant Gunnery in there from Full Metal Jacket, and that's exactly who they need over there at Marvel Studio, or the Marvel Comics. That's exactly what they need over there, is a Sergeant Gunnery.
Smith.
From now on, you're Gomer Pyle.
Kibble Smith. From now on, Kibble Smith is Gomer Pyle. Okay, Kibble Smith his name is now Gomer Pyle.
Designed all of the new warriors and gave them costumes that felt as modern.
You're so ugly you could be a modern art masterpiece.
That's good. It's on point. Right on point.
Screen time is a internet kid taken to its sort of logical conclusion. As a youth, he was exposed to his grandfather's experimental internet gas.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that? What is that, Private Pyle?
Safe space.
Exactly. I think we're all asking ourselves the same question, Chad. What is that? What is that? What is that, Private Pyle? What is internet gas? Okay, we have no idea what that is. Tell me what that is. Okay, the internet gas is not a thing. Your typical modern day kid who spends a lot of time on the internet does not use anything even remotely related to internet gas. So what is it? What is that, Private Pyle? Okay, Private Pyle, you have to explain what internet gas is, because we don't know what that is.
Is kind of a big, burly, sort of stereotypical jock.
Bullshit, I'll bet you could suck a golf ball through a garden hose.
Oh, that's mean. That's mean. That's brutal. You're brutal, Sergeant Gunnery. You're brutal.
Snowflake is non-binary and goes by they, them.
Well, there's one thing that you won't like, Private Snowball. They don't serve fried chicken and watermelon on a daily basis in my mess hall.
E negative.
Ooh, that was low. That was low. Sergeant Gunnery is really giving them to them, Chad. Sergeant Gunnery is really giving to them.
Is the goth kid. When he was a baby, he got a rogue life-saving blood transfusion, we assume from Michael Morbius.
Bullshit, it looks to me like the best part of you ran down to crack your mama's ass and ended up as a brown stain on the mattress.
B negative also is obvious.
Okay, I'm already convinced at this point, chat. I know the video's not over yet, but I'm already convinced. I'm already convinced that they needed a Sergeant Gunnery to be the editor. So you need a Sergeant Gunnery to be the new editor in chief. I would, if he were still alive, which unfortunately he's not. But if he were, I would vote for Sergeant Gunnery being the new editor in chief at Marvel. He could tell these people, no, take this nonsense back and give me something for real. Okay, we don't have time to waste on this crap that you're just dishing out. And say HK47 for life. Thank you very much for the 2. Appreciate that. All hail Lord Gunnery. Or Lord Gunny. Yes. All hail Lord Gunny. The best editor the best option for a editor in chief at Marvel. The best option. So you can actually tell these people to their face what's wrong. I said before, they kind of need bullies over there. To just whip him into shape like he did Gomer Pyle, Pirate Pyle.
Basically a pun. It's a blood type, which is great for a vampiric character, and it's also a proud ownership of the idea of having a bad attitude.
You had best unfuck yourself, or I will unscrew your head and check down your neck.
Oh right, Gunnery Sergeant. That's right. They used Semantic Dragon. Gunnery Sergeant.
Mine.
So yeah, that was fantastic. I like that. Oh yeah, see what I mean, chat. This not just this isn't just funny. It also perfectly highlights what an editor should be doing when they put a writer on one of their own IPs. It's not a writer who is producing their own IP. It's a writer they've brought on to continue an IP that they own. Someone they've entrusted to care for one of their properties. One of the properties. I'll be funny to cover before we got into everything. If we got into Undoomed and his coverage on Picard. So let's see here. Well, yeah, see what I mean, chat? See what I mean? Wouldn't that be way better if they had a gunnery sergeant in there telling them what is and what isn't good? That's insulting them to their faces and saying, get back in there. And so, this Kibble Smith coming to the desk with his script and everything, and with a proud and looking with shoulders back and looking proud and looking all soy boyish with his mouth agape, and going to the desk and saying, look at this nice woke nonsense that I've produced that I want you to produce in the new Warriors. And then Gunnery Sergeant picking up and saying, this is awful. Just insulting him to his face and sending Kibble Smith off to write a real script with his knees shaking and his lip quivering and his back hunched. So there you go. I think that so we need someone like Gunny in there. We need a Gunny in there. Okay. They're not doing well on their own. Let's see here. No Commando, you're in the chat. Welcome. Fantastic video. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. Tyler Preston, Hartman is my spirit animal. I'm always yelling. What the fuck is that? I think at this point in time, Hartman is a lot of our spirit animals. Like he's a spirit animal of everyone who's reasonable these days. Is going in and telling these people what for. Is telling these people what is and isn't good, what they should and shouldn't be doing. I think in reality, we all secretly want to be Hartman, yelling at the faces of these NPCs who are ruining all of our favorite franchises. Like, what is this? What is this? As a Q2 Dub B. Hey, Leadership Devil, you were great last night on World Class Bullshitters High Council. Oh, fantastic. I'm glad you were there. I had a lot of fun. On that stream. Fantastic stuff. They invited me on again. I don't know when they invited me on again, but it was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed being on there. Gojira 387. Jim Shooter was essentially the Gunny of Marvel Comics back in the day. Would that be accurate? I think so. Because you have to be tough on these people. You can't just let them walk all over you. They're your employees. You have the writers, and you should give them a lot of creative freedom. And when they're coming back with something that is this ridiculous, where you're not telling us a story, you're just telling us politics. It's time to go back to the drawing board. It's time to yell at them, give them a few insults, read the script in front of their faces, and then send them back to redo it. Okay, because at the end of the day, it's not their IP, it's not the writer's IP, it's the company's IP. You're essentially supposed to be safeguarding it, which you're not doing a very good job of doing. with letting Kibblesmith run rampant in his nonsense. So anyway, we covered Picard. We saw how Picard was a blatant ripoff, and just a blatant ripoff of Mass Effect, to shameful degrees, I might add, very blatantly shameful degrees. And now we'll have our good friend Undoomed watch our good friend Undoomed's video, and he'll help us highlight the things he saw that was wrong with it, which are pretty significant. Pretty significant.
Enjoy. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about Star Trek Picard. Not a full.
And Tyler Person, and now we have stupid people like Patricia Taxon and Jack Saint destroying objective criticism because it might hurt the creators' fifis. Exactly. And now we're stuck with in their minds, we're stuck with the burden of disproving all of their nonsense in order for them to finally accept that objective criticism exists. The thing is, they don't have to accept that objective criticism exists. Okay, it does. It's kind of like if I go outside, if I take you outside and I point to a tree, and I say, this tree is objectively here. And then their argument is that, well, it might not be. Here's my argument about how that's not objectively here because objectivity does not exist. Okay, so it doesn't matter what my argumentations are. It doesn't matter what their argumentations are. That tree is there. Okay, that tree is there whether you're wrong or right. Whether no matter what you say, whether I produce a good argument for objectivity or not. Okay, that tree is still there. No matter what. You can cut it down, but you'd have to go to the effort of cutting down something that's actually objectively there. Okay, objective criticism exists. You can bend over backwards to argue that it doesn't. It just does. Okay, it does. So they can say what they can bring forth any argument. It doesn't change the fact that objective criticism exists. Because if it doesn't, then there's no way an artist can get better. There's no objective way an artist can get better. So you can look at someone's child doodles, and you can look at someone's professional art that they've made over years and years of practice, and that means there's no objective difference between those two. Then one's not objectively better than the other. Objective criticism exists. Okay, it's how artists improve, because artists can improve. The reason schools exist for art. Okay, so let's check this out. Let's see what Undoomed has to say about Star Trek Picard.
Full review of every event in the entire series or anything like that. Just thought I'd share some of the things that stood out to me. Be aware, there will be spoilers. Now, when the series first came out, I really wanted to like it, and I really...
See, this is even a better video to choose from, because Undoomed and I seem to be in the same line of thought. When it first came out, I really wanted to like it too. I really, really wanted to like it. I really tried hard to like it. Unfortunately, it crashed and burned at the very end. I think because of creator arrogance or something.
Really wanted to give it a chance. Sure, the first episode had its problems, but what TV series doesn't? There were some serious warning signs, though. Picard didn't seem like Picard.
See, I'm of the same opinion. That there were some problems in the first episode, but I mean, what series doesn't really have problems in the first episode? It's a very, very rare instance where they don't. I can't really think of one that doesn't. Even my favorite Star Trek series, Deep Space Nine, had a lot of problems in the first episode. It was a very awkward first episode, and it's a very awkward first season. The first season, in my opinion, only being saved by a duet. I think the ninth episode of the first season, the one where they get a Cardassian who has Patrick syndrome, and it actually plays on the whole Nazi Nazi officer thing being captured after World War II. And it's a very good episode. To me, that's the one really good episode in the first season. And then it gets a lot better from there. But the first season was kind of awkward, kind of strange. They're trying to find their footing. They're trying to find their identity. And they really found their own when they brought in I think it was called Duet. And that was the one good episode, one really significantly spectacular episode of the first season. And then it got better. KH, thank you much for the 5. Appreciate that. Maybe that is why woke culture copies. They don't like objective criticism. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. They have lack of imagination, and they don't really like objective criticism. So they just copy things that are already deemed as good, hoping that they'll be praised for it, and so they don't have to come up with something on their own, and then have a lot of people just say it's objectively bad because it probably will be. Let's see, DJ M Voices, thank you much for the 10. Mass Effect borrowed elements from Trek and was one of the first big franchises to rip its fans for calling out its bad writing. Trek is hating its fans and ripping off Mass Effect full circle. Yeah, it's like the disgusting human centipede of media. Let's rip each other off. And yeah, I do remember that. I do remember Mass Effect coming out. Well, BioWare in general, I think there are people who actually came out against fans who didn't like their writing, thought it was heading downhill. And of course, if you don't like everything they do, you're immediately labeled as toxic. If you don't like everything they produce, you are a toxic fan, hands down, according to them. Okay, this because they're so arrogant. They think that their work is so brilliant and everything is done so correctly and so brilliantly that only a bigot or someone someone toxic who just hates everything would possibly think that what they've done is terrible. But as I said before, and I'll say again, I continue to say, Chad, that in the grand scheme of things, the people who love you are going to be the people who actually call out your nonsense, who actually say that you have a problem. I said on World Class Bullshitters yesterday, the people who actually do love you are people who are going to point out that maybe drinking 3 bottles of vodka every hour is a problem, and you need to get help. You need to stop that. Okay, there's something wrong with you. However, people who are your fanatics will come out and say, "Yeah, that's fine. You do you. You do you." I'm starting to hate that phrase. You do you. But okay, you don't need people who say you do you all the time if you're a franchise. You need people who are brave enough to point out that this is a mistake, that you're making a mistake drinking 3 bottles of vodka every hour. It's not healthy for you. You're going to destroy your liver. And well, those are people who are pointing out something that you might not like to hear, that you might be insulted about hearing, in fact. However, something that you need to hear in order to fix yourself, in order to save yourself. Because if you don't listen to them, if you don't listen to these fans who you have labeled as toxic, you're going to end up crashing and burning. I reckon sandwich for $1.99. Appreciate that. We got kind of a chicken and an egg scenario here. Yeah, which came first? They're kind of eating each other. KH, BioWare is dead. I certainly believe it is. Unfortunately, BioWare is dead. They made some really good games. Mass Effect 1 was a lot of fun. Mass Effect 2 I had a lot of fun playing also. And let's see here. And Dragon Age Origins, I had a lot of fun playing. And of course, there was KOTOR 2. I didn't play KOTOR 2 yet. I played KOTOR 1 though. But I heard KOTOR 2 was great. It was a lot of fun also. But they kind of fell off the wagon when they kind of became really, really woke with Dragon Age 2. So I remember the fans were complaining that they put in way too many romantic options. That they didn't put enough heterosexual romantic options in there. That's what they complained about. And they made everyone like fan fiction level of writing, and they made certain male characters like they've given less depth and made them more fan fiction pretty boy, damaged pretty boyish. And the writer for that, that, or one of the lead writers for Dragon Age 2, came out and just said, "You're jealous of her vagina and everything." It was really strange what she said. But she came out against fans. And started lambasting them. It was ridiculous. So yeah, you're right on that front. Star Trek creators have now come out against fans, and BioWare teams came out against fans. It's ridiculous. Barry Ben, thank you much for the comment here. Thank you very much for the comment. You should do a comparison of how Disney, CBS, and BBC deal with their longtime fans, and compare it to Sunrise and its multitude of responses to fan feedback with Gundam. Okay, that's interesting. Because I've heard Gundam was. You said everyone in the chat kept saying that Gundam Seed was something to look at. So that'd be interesting. I'm really interested to see what Sunrise has to say. I'm pretty sure Sunrise isn't as arrogant as these Western creators have become.
Hard, and the sets looked like they came from The Expanse. People were talking in a very contemporary 2019.
Yeah, I didn't like the contemporary 2020, 2019 vocabulary. That was really cringy. But on this note, on the note of Picard, I can kind of see where that's going because it has been 30 years. I can see a Picard who has been softened over the years. I forgot. Maybe it's been 30, maybe it's been 20, something like that. It's been years since his last mission. But he had a long time. Obviously, he's a man resting on his or remembering his old life, wanting to go back into the fold, into the fray, and basically going over and lamenting over his mistakes, his past mistakes. So I could technically see Picard softening over the years. So yeah, it was not the Picard from the show, but I can kind of rationalize it, kind of put logic to it, that he kind of more or less softened over those years, which he didn't really play on, which was a mistake. But I can kind of see him softening over those years. So he wasn't the harsh, critical Picard, which he kind of should have been. Like he kind of should have gone from soft Picard to this Starfleet Captain Picard. Okay, once he started really going on with the show, but he remained soft, gentle, bleeding heart Picard. He lost all of his edge, all of his strict standards. As someone was murdered, one of his crew murdered a guy. He says you're going to jail, and then he kind of forgot about it. You're not going to jail anymore because I don't know. We like you or something. I have no idea. SCK, much for 5. Appreciate that. What you said is what my mom said daily. The worst thing is when no one bothered to criticize your mistakes after keeping them and don't improve. Exactly. That's one of the essential things a creator, an artist needs is criticism. Because without criticism, okay, you won't improve. You just think what you're doing is great. You just think what you're doing currently is just right, is perfect, and you'll never seek to improve. And I know artists are sensitive. Artists are sensitive people. They don't like to be told that what they've done is wrong, which is why I'm pretty sure they don't like to be told that objective criticism exists. Because if objective criticism exists, then any criticism is not the fault of the critic. Because if everything was just subjective, if there was no objective critique, okay, if that didn't actually exist, then the artist could say, "Oh well, it's just your opinion. It's just subjective. I'm actually brilliant. I'm actually correct." All the time, they could always say that. "I'm actually brilliant. I'm correct. It's just that you, as a critic, don't personally like it because you personally can't understand." But if objective critique does exist, then they can't do that. They can't blame the critic's criticism on the critic. Because if objective criticism exists, then it's something the artist did wrong. It's something they did wrong. And they can't really handle that notion. They can't handle the notion that they did something incorrect or they made a mistake in their artwork when it feels perfect. That to me seems to be the case. But yeah, criticism is essential for an artist. I was critiqued on my writing. I was told blatantly, right to my face that it's terrible or that it needs improvement or it doesn't work. Okay, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, it's not a very pleasant experience, but it's necessary. It's necessary, chat, for you to improve. Okay, however you think my writing is, whether good or bad, it would not be as good as it is without some blunt critique. Okay, it's better if you don't beat around the bush. Just be blunt about it. Rocket Sale, thanks for 499. Appreciate that. Could you do a stream where you review a terrible book in its entirety? I'd love to hear your opinions on the second Aragon book or Inquisitor. That would be an interesting idea, but that would take forever. I'd be like to read through an entire book. That would be like 24-hour stream, maybe around there somewhere. I could do a comic book in its entirety. Comic books aren't nearly as long, and it's better visually. So I could do that. Would you like me to do that one? Pick out a terrible comic book and cover that, or maybe a good comic book. I'll leave that up to you. You want me to do a stream on comic books? We could do that. Or where I cover a comic book, whether good or bad. I'll leave that up to you. Whether you want me to cover a good one, I cover a bad one, just let me know. Let's see what else Alden has to say about Picard. Because, the contemporary speech, We could leave that out. It just sounds really cringy. It doesn't sound brave or new or edgy. It just sounds dumb.
Way, not huge things, but still things felt out of place. However, at that point, the only thing I really had to compare it to was Discovery, and that thing is a dumpster fire. So I was still holding out hope.
Everything I've seen about Discovery has proven, it's a dumpster fire. But I have not actually seen the show. But it seems to be the case. It's a big old dumpster fire, and it's a travesty. It is the Last Jedi of Star Trek.
Hoped that this would be an entertaining series at least. But now, after having seen the whole thing, I'm not even sure it's better than Discovery. For instance, I don't understand why they keep throwing out plot threads that lead nowhere and have no payoff. For instance, what was the point of...
That was a big thing in Picard chat. That was because it ended with so many things left unanswered. Like that one lady who was a half Vulcan, half Romulan spy who infiltrated the upper echelons of Starfleet Command. They just let her go. They didn't say, okay, we're going to either surrender to us and send your fleet away, or we're going to have a space fight. No, this went ahead and let her go. A Romulan spy who infiltrated for years the upper echelons of Starfleet Command. They're just going to let her go with all those secrets, all those intimate secrets and things that she's put into place. Not a good play there. Not a good play. Also, Riker suddenly being in command of the starship out of nowhere. It was ridiculous. And what's really going on here? I'll go GA387. Literature Devil, that'd be fine. I would prefer a novel or short story, but do what you think you can handle. I think I would really like to do a story, like a novel or something, but I think that'd be too long of a stream for people. I don't think that people would really want to be on here for about 24 hours or so. Because it would take a long time to not only read the book, but to go over the book and all the things that it'd be better if I just went over I read the book on my own time. I think if that were the case, and then went over it with you. But mainly because of time, the time limit on that one, because it would take a long time to get through. Let's see here. Insult to the human race. Thank you much for the 5. Appreciate that. Nonsense is an excellent way to start an April Fool's morning. I hope the rest of the day goes good to you as well, Sir Literature Devil. Oh, appreciate that. I hope the rest of the day is going fantastic for you as well. And I hope your day is going fantastic for you also, everyone in the chat. Everyone in the chat. Hope everyone is doing fantastic. Let's see here. Xstar00R Graves. Hello, LD. Don't you know that girls are allowed to get away with it? Maybe. Let's see here. Okay. Rocket Sailor, thank you for $1.99. Appreciate that. Read the novel first and then just go over it. Yeah, I think if I do cover a novel, I think that's what I'll go for. Because if you were here on the show yesterday, okay, I mentioned that one of my hobbies before I started YouTube, before the Comicsgate thing, that one of my favorite hobbies was to go through indie writers who self-published on Amazon, and this way through all the 99% of it, which is crap. It just is. It's not an insult. It just is. Okay, if you read what I read, you'd agree. It's just horrible. But I did find some gems in there. And I read those gems. And what I could do is just show you the book and go over it with you, because I've already read them. So when I do the stream, I'm planning to do the stream on covering independent creators, independent writers on Amazon. I think that's what I'll do. I'll just pull up one of the books that I've read and just go over it. I'll just tell you all about it, even though you haven't read it yourself, more than likely. I'll just go over them. And I'll tell you what I liked about them, I'll tell you what I disliked about them. Because I'll go over the gems, and then I'll go over the, I guess what you call a C grade, which started off really good, had a really good premise, and then just kind of petered out at the end, kind of disappointed me. But I have some gems that satisfied my need to read from beginning to end, and continue to do so with follow-up work. So it was good. It was fantastic. I really liked it. And see, okay, thank you much for the 2. Appreciate that. What is with that video's robotic voice? Oh, you mean this one? This is Undoomed. If you haven't seen Undoomed, he used to be a big SJW or anti-SJW NPC person. or anti-SJW, anti-NBC person. He kind of, I guess he got too busy with his day job and he kind of quit making videos on the regular. But he does some streams every once in a while, and he still puts out a video on occasion. And yeah, he invited me to stream one recently, but unfortunately, I was well, not unfortunately, because I really like morning nonsense. But he invited me to a stream in the morning one time, and I was doing morning nonsense, which is I mean, I can't get out of. I don't want to get out of. I really enjoy doing these streams. I'm pretty sure from what I've seen, you enjoy it too. So I don't want to take away that joy from you. I mean, there's always next time. But yeah, he does do videos occasionally. He does do streams occasionally, but he is known for his voice. But I think he's like a special effects guy. Because he did an intro for Sargon of Akkad back in the day, and he's done several intros for him. I think when he came out as a anti-SJW, he kind of made everyone else step up their game as far as visual effects go. Everyone else was kind of like just recording themselves in their bedroom, debunking some bedroom feminist. Undoom put some panache into his videos. It was a lot of fun to watch. Anyway, he is a Trekkie, though, as far as he told me. So let's see here. I was hoping to get him on a stream one day for a Star Trek stream, but schedules are really tough to put together, especially because he's really busy with his day job.
Bruce Maddox except to have someone Forehead Girl could murder, so we could then thoroughly ignore that at the end. She murders someone in cold blood, they find out, they say they're going to put her in jail. 2 episodes later, they're like, murder's not so bad. It's fine.
So there it is. Because the murder in question, if you haven't seen the show, is that this really annoying doctor. She's my least favorite character. Because she talks like a Tumblrite. She talks like a contemporary person. It's really annoying. But she's my least favorite character, and she murders Bruce Maddox, someone from the original trilogy. He appeared once, but the one time he really appeared, okay, was the time was one of the most classic and memorable episodes of Star Trek Next Generation ever, which is Measure of a Man, where they put kind of data on trial to see whether or not he should have rights or not. Because if he didn't, then Maddox was going to bring him back to Starfleet Academy and kind of tear him to pieces to study him and to make more Data-esque beings. And it was up to Picard to defend Data as something unique, as a living creature who deserves rights. Of course, Picard won because he's Picard. He always, if it comes out in negotiation, he's going to win. That's just Picard's thing. But Bruce Maddox continues his research apparently, and she kills Bruce Maddox. Like they've been going after Bruce Maddox this entire time. Okay. This entire time they're looking for Bruce Maddox. And then they finally get him, and then she murders him, and then Picard says, and not only does she murder him, she hides that she murders him. She covers up a crime. And then Picard finds out eventually, and then says, hey, you're going to jail, that was murder. You ended a life. And then they find the synthetic colony, the colony full of synthetics, which, by the way, introduces Dr. Sung's random son that he never once talked about, who looks exactly like him. Did you know that Dr. Noonien Sung has a son? I don't think even he knew he had a son. But he has a son all of a sudden. And all of a sudden, they just kind of forget about the whole murder thing. They kind of forget about Maddox being murdered and him being dead in the ship. They kind of forget about all that. Forget about the doctor murdering him and putting her in jail. She even says, hey, aren't you going to put me in jail? And so, no, we changed our mind. You change your mind? You change your mind? Old Picard would have been like, yeah, I know why you did it. I sympathize, but you still did it. You have to go to jail now. You have to pay for it because he's still dead. Okay? Doesn't change things. It's because you're forced to do it. It's because you're kind of brainwashed. You chose to do it. Okay? At the very end of the day, she didn't have to kill Maddox. She just thought it was the right thing to do. But she still killed somebody. Okay, Picard was always about, yeah, you did what you did, or I did what I did. I'm here. I'm willing to accept the consequences. That was the whole thing. But she just gets away with it for some reason. I don't know why.
I'm not even sure it's a crime anymore anyhow. Now, maybe I missed something. I mean, at times, this series is so boring that it's hard to not pick up the phone and start twittering yourself. But that's my experience with the series, so let's carry on. So the next thing that pissed me off is the Borg cube. What the hell is the point of that?
Now this chat, this was a big letdown, chat. A huge letdown was the Borg cube because there was so much potential there. They brought in a Borg cube and they call it the artifact, and they turn it into something they work on. Okay, it turned into something where like a kind of a rehabilitation center where they rehabilitate former Borg. And it's where they have Hugh. They saved Hugh from his enslavement to the Borg colony. But this is what they did, chat. They made a Borg cube, and that is a need for. That's an ominous thing to set up in the Star Trek universe. You would think that later on this is going to be this is going to pay off. They're going to wake up and start killing everybody, or there's going to be some sort of rebellion. Something's going to go wrong. But no, as Undune will explain, that didn't quite happen. See, Matthew J. Memnall, thank you much for the 5. Appreciate that. If you need a book, mine's a novella and illustrated, short and sweet. It is sort of designed to be the TV show of books. Well, that's interesting. I know you emailed me. Just email me if you don't mind. Just email me at least maybe a section or something like that, so I can take a look at it, and I'll see if we can cover it if you don't mind. Anyway, if something we want me to read on my own, or is it something you want me to cover? So let me know in the email, I suppose. Anyway, let's see here.
Sure, they have to have somewhere that Soji can be so that she can meet the Romulan, but that could be anywhere. Could have been the Romulan embassy or a starbase or whatever, but they chose a Borg cube. Why? Because fuck you, that's why. What's a really cool environment we could put in here, like, in the script so that it looks really flashy and cool? So that's what they did, even though it makes absolutely no sense and costs a shitload of money. I mean, there are scenes when they're walking around like basic Star Wars prequel walking and talking stuff, and you can see the background change and it's all 3D animated and all that shit for no reason at all except let's set money on fire. And you can see throughout the series that they're burning money on bullshit for no reason at all. Why do you think they...
Let's see, Criminal Imagination, thank you very much for the 5. Appreciate that. The cube, it looks like a junkyard stage. It looks like the junkyard stages from Mega Man X. Yeah, it looked terrible. It didn't look as ominous as it should have been. And the thing is, chat, about the cube, they even set this up where it might be dangerous. Okay, they set it up like the first time you see the protocols for working in the artifact, what they call it, is that okay? You have to wear this device, and when this device starts glowing or blinking or something, then it means that there are actual Borg members of the former colony, on their way. Like you're in danger. You're in danger, Will Robinson. So they made this like a very hostile environment. Like if you walk out of the safe zones, then you might get attacked by Borg, by actual Borg, not the ex-Borg, but the actual Borg. And they set it up like something was going to happen, like something was going to break or something was going to snap, or the ex-Borg were going to revolt or something. But no, that can't happen because you know why, chat? You know why? Because one thing they do in Picard is they go from an interesting discussion on synthetic life, because that was a big discussion with Data, to synthetic life being... here we go, chat. To synthetic life being the oppressed class, the unoppressed class, being oppressed by the organics. So we are not. So it's not just a case of us fearing synthetics because of some sort of Terminator or a Matrix style event happening. But the whole Picard series boils down to the dirty organics are the oppressors, and the synthetics are the oppressed. They literally use that phrasing. Well, not that exact phrasing, but they use the word oppressed. That they had to call out to the Star Trek Reapers to save the synthetics from the oppression of the organics. That's what they say, more or less. It gets nightmarish. Like, oh my goodness, chat. They actually use the word oppression, and once they use that word, everything began to click into place, and Picard is ruined forever. It's always been about everything, every single characterization, every single event in Picard, in hindsight, has been about oppression. oppression of the synthetics. Those poor synthetics, and they call 7 9 a half breed, kind of like her being half acceptable and half unacceptable, and being kind of an outcast for both. I know. No, they didn't do that, but they did, chat. They completely, totally did. Okay, they did. They did. Star Trek Picard is all about oppression of synthetics by the evil, racist organics. And all came together, all clicked together when they used the oppression of the organics on synthetics. And I could do nothing but facepalm, and I begrudgingly finished the series. So if you haven't seen it yet, you're not missing anything. There are some good parts in Picard, but ultimately it does not save it from the horrific nonsense about synthetic oppression and organic racism. It's just terrible. Space Junk, Literature Devil, you should 100% do a stream where you read fan fiction, but in a super professional and dramatic tone. I would pay money for this. I was actually thinking about reading someone fan fiction, but I'm not sure if it'd be, because it's not. I don't consider it mean or stepping over the line if I read it on my own and then critique it on my own. But I don't know about the ethics. It's just I wasn't so sure about the ethics of reading this some random person's fan fiction on stream. That's my only problem. So, I mean, if I got permission from someone to cover fan fiction on stream, or if you want me to do something that's established fan fiction, like a My Immortal, or like some fan fiction that has become kind of famous in fan fiction circles, and it wouldn't be too badly. It wouldn't be so bad, I guess, in that scenario. Then I could do that. I'm really sure about the personal ethics of me covering some random person's fan fiction on stream. Personally, I just don't know. I don't know about that, but I would like to do that. Nevertheless. Let's see here, KH, thank you much for the 2. Appreciate that. So they are speciest. That is racist. I think they're considering like the synthetics as another race or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's all about oppression. Picard is all about oppression of synthetics by organics. It's just terrible. It's awful. Why did you have to do that, Picard? You were perfectly watchable. Okay, you had tricked me. You had lulled me into a false sense of security, and then you shared it by using the word oppression, by using the phrase how the organics oppress the synthetics. And then it all came together, treating 7 of 9 as a filthy half-breed, is what they essentially call her. I know. No, Picard, you're doing well, not great, or even fine. You're doing okay. You're watchable. I could turn my brain off and watch you. I could enjoy some of the very few great instances that were in there. But you ruined everything because you made it about oppression and racism. Okay, and at that point, I was done. I was completely done. Okay, so let's see here. Rocket Insano, thanks for $1.99. Appreciate that. They had to shove in race stuff somewhere. They absolutely do. Because if you haven't seen it, I don't know where it is, but I just remember what happened. But there was an instance where they got mad at a show because, yeah, it had representation in there, but it didn't count according to them because it didn't have the minority turn to the camera, pause the entire story, and talk about race for a second. Because that's good writing to them, chat. Good writing to the NPC SJW is having the minority character just stop everything and lecture you on how much of a minority they actually are to the audience, and how oppressed they are, and how bad their life is, or how difficult their life is. And then we can continue with this main story. It can have nothing to do with the story. They just have to step out for a second, turn to the audience, and just give a tirade or a monologue on racism or sexism or something, and then we can continue. This is why no one should listen to them. This is why nobody should listen to the SJWs. Everything they do is terrible. Let's see here. Rocket Sandwich for $9.99. Appreciate that. Review Empress Teresa. It's published work. Yeah, okay, that one I might be able to do. I saw someone covering a video on that, or someone doing a video covering that one, and it seemed crazy enough to cover. So I might do that one if you don't mind, chat. I might do that one. I'll look into it first, though. See if I can make it entertaining. Anyway, let's continue.
They have an entire episode about making pizzas because it's cheap as fuck and they already blew half the budget on gratuitous effects. Just get a minimal crew, rent a cabin, put in some spacey looking props, and you're all set. Then let's have Deanna Troi and Will Riker show up for no reason at all so we can have absolutely nothing happen for an entire...
Yeah. I'm doing the spot on there. So they introduced Riker and Deanna Troi. They're apparently married. They had lost one kid. They have a little Mary Sue-ish daughter who everyone is placating to. Everyone who's like, she knows all kinds of secret languages. Hale's a brilliant genius and can do no wrong. I'm getting some vibes there. So I get some Mary Sue vibes there. But the thing is, nothing happens in the episode. They just kind of walk and talk and make really strange jokes and kind of go over what we already knew. It's kind of like they were trying to save money. It was like a bottle episode. And it was so. And Dim is right. I think they were counting on us being so enthralled in nostalgia as seeing Riker and Diana Troi that we just went ahead and we would go ahead and forget that nothing happened that episode. Okay, so at the very end of the series, Riker comes up and says, Riker reappears as a Starfleet captain. Okay, during that episode, they could have at least told us that he was still involved in Starfleet. That he was still had his commission, because apparently he does. They didn't mention that. He just suddenly does, right when Picard needs him. I guess the Deus Ex Machina. They didn't set it up because there was an episode. There was another episode. Chat. Did you know that there's an episode in TNG where something like this happens, where a big fleet comes in to save the day? But they set it up because there's an instance where they're trying to face off with the Romulans back in the TNG days, and Picard says he motions to someone. He motions to Worf and says, mentions something about communications with the Klingon Empire. It's not made a big deal. It's not the focus of anything. It's kind of an offhand, off the cuff sort of response. Kind of like he's doing the checklist of day-to-day operations. How did you send the communications to the Klingon Empire? That sort of thing. And kind of just brush it off because, okay, just going to normal day-to-day stuff. And they face off with the Romulans. And it seems like it's curtains for the Enterprise because it's not only just one warbird, a few more warbirds come in. And then it looks like they're going to lose because the Romulan commander, Romulan captain says, I'm going to really enjoy towing the Enterprise back and putting it on display on Romulus as a trophy. Because they tricked the Enterprise into breaking the law, into crossing into their territory, so they can legally do that without causing an international incident. And Picard and the Enterprise would take the full blame. But at that moment, right at the moment of defeat, the Klingons come in to save the day. A fleet of Klingon birds of prey, fly in to save the day. And so the Romulans leave, and the Enterprise is free to live another day. But they set it up, okay? And the TNG is an episode by episode formula. So they didn't have the luxury of setting it up before, like the episode before. They had to set it up in the episode, which they did, and it was spectacular. Picard is a 24-esque style series. It's a continuing, overarching story. So when they met Riker, at the very least, okay, they could have mentioned that off the cuff. They could have mentioned that, yeah, he's still working for Starfleet, and I don't think they did. I don't remember them saying that at all. He just kind of shows up at the end with a gigantic fleet, and according to him, one of the most powerful ships in Starfleet. One of the most powerful ships Starfleet has ever produced. So that goes from interesting setup to Deus Ex Machina, full-blown Deus Ex Machina, which is almost just as bad as having a Mary Sue. And they have quite a few of these Deus Ex Machinas in Picard. So let's see here. Alex Halo, thanks for the 2. Appreciate that. I guess that's why they hate our Yuri and Yaoi. Maybe. Maybe. Appreciate that. I'm hoping I know what you're referencing. Let's see here. Gajira 387. I don't have a problem with seeing characters grow old as long as they are treated within story. Yeah, same here. That's why I was actually excited and kind of happily and eagerly anticipating Star Trek Picard because okay, this is going to be interesting because we're going to have Picard in his last days, his final days, probably getting into one last little, maybe not even getting to a problem, just seeing his last days and how he's lamenting over his past regrets and past victories and seeing how he's deteriorating. I wanted a Mr. Holmes. Like I wanted, if you've seen Mr. Holmes, his last days of Sherlock Holmes, I wanted to see that where it's just not. He doesn't go on a big adventure. It's not anything big. But it's just dealing with him deteriorating and trying to uphold his dignity. Let's see here. Yeah, as long as they're treated well, so as long as they're written well and interesting, and the character is kept in line, then I'm fine. But they didn't do that, unfortunately.
Entire episode. Brilliant. Now, if you're like me watching the series, you're probably thinking, yeah, this Borg cube is dangerous as fuck, and at some point it's gonna wake up and all hell's gonna break loose. That was something that I thought, okay, that could be fun to see. But instead, what did we get? Well, it turns on for 5 seconds, they open the airlock, and boom, all the Borgs are out in space. First of all, that's it? Secondly, have you forgotten that Borg can survive in space? And thirdly, this is supposed to be the most dangerous enemy the Federation has ever faced, and they're defeated by a fucking air.
On that one, Undoomed, unfortunately, they're kind of on point here because Voyager ruined the Borg. Voyager really ruined the Borg because Janeway, they gave her Mary Sue powers. They granted her the Mary Sue green light, and so the Borg went from being this devastating enemy. Took out entire fleets of ships from Star Trek, from Starfleet, and that's it. They took out entire fleets. But when it came to Voyager, when it came to facing Janeway, even the might of the Borg collective could not withstand the might of Mary Sue, and that's kind of what Janeway was. And so it went from one Borg cube taking out fleets of starships to the entire Borg collective not being able to set up to one little Voyager ship. Starfleet Voyager really kind of ruined the Borg and ruined Q. Voyager is where things went to get ruined, where good things went to get ruined. Tyler Preston, we're always open-minded to changes, but as long as it's respectful toward the original. Exactly. That's what they don't seem to get. That we don't care about. They always tout that, that we don't like things, like these new things, because they're new and they did something different. No. Okay. No, that's wrong. We don't care if you did something different. We care that whether or not you're respecting and adhering to established legacy, established lore, and established characterization. Okay, that's what's really important. Okay, so in other words, what you have to do is to,
course correction to appeal to big dumb fanboys.
Exactly. Make that course correction and appeal to us big dumb fanboys. That's what you really need to be doing. You need to appeal to us big dumb fanboys, or you're not going to be doing so well. Okay? Because you have that fan base already, and you're making this seemingly for a fan base, but it's not working because you're alienating the fan base by insulting them.
Airlock? And then, in the last episode, as a big fuck you to the audience, 709 shows up in the Borg cube and promptly crashes. What? What the hell was the point of the Borg cube? It does nothing, it affects nothing, it's just there so we can have a big bombastic effect shot. Well, whoop-de-doo, I'm so impressed. Get a fucking story! Everything in this series is just such a letdown. It's like a balloon deflating. Just think about the last confrontation. They show up with a gazillion starships and then they go, okay, let's go home again. Like the whole thing was just made up so that they could put that in the trailer for the next episode. And the director of Starfleet Security, who was a Romulan spy? Let's just let her go, it's fine. Wouldn't that be like the biggest scandal in Federation history to have the actual director of Starfleet Security be a fucking spy? Wouldn't there be like endless Senate hearings and inquiries and shit?
Yeah, you would think so. That was a big problem, chat, by the way. That was a huge problem in Picard. First of all, how did this person get that high up in the Starfleet echelons of leadership. And second of all, how could they even conceive about just letting her go? Okay, because they kind of bent the knee at the end. The Romulans bent the knee to to Starfleet. What Starfleet should have done was demand that, I think her name was Director Ho or something like that, or who, I don't know, something like that. And they should have demanded that she come over because she has been in the upper echelons of this thing for years. Who knows what kind of traps and what kind of disarray and chaos she's been laying down for years. And keep that in mind that she was responsible for killing thousands and thousands of not only Star Trek personnel, but her own people in order to destroy the synthetic life forms, in order to get synthetic life forms banned and to stop them from existing because they become the destroyer. Okay. She underwent no consequences. They're probably saving the consequences for season 2. But and I would be okay with her, just leaving. I'll be okay with her leaving and getting away with it all, at least for now. If Riker at least tried to get her, at least if Riker tried to negotiate for her surrender, or decided to be Riker for once. Okay, remember the old Riker, who said, who when after Picard was captured by the Borg, said, "Go ahead and fire on the cube. I don't care if we kill Picard because we're doing what's right for the galaxy." Go back to that Riker. That Riker would have said, "Okay, you either surrender to us. We're not letting you go. You have to surrender to us, or we're gonna have a fight." But it gets Sisko on there. He'll do that. But either way, they should have tried to get the director on there. Should have tried to capture the director, because that would be a huge, enormous scandal that a Romulan spy was at the upper echelons of Starfleet Command. That's a much bigger deal than they're making it out to be in Picard.
Nope. No one cares. I mean, what happened to consequences? What is the point of having a story arc series if there are no consequences?
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but people tend to love John Wick. John Wick is a pretty good movie. It's been pretty well received. People tend to like it a lot. But what's one of the major themes of John Wick? And this is an actual theme of John Wick. They actually put it in the movie. I know what it is, chat. Consequences. Okay, consequences. People are so many times people are suffering for the consequences of their actions. Maybe from the previous movie, from even the same movie. Okay, even the first one, the son of the Russian mobster, he kills John Wick's dog. The consequence of that is unleashing John Wick's wrath upon not only himself but the entire mafia, the entire Russian mafia of that city. And the consequence of that is getting D'Antonio, or what's his name, D'Antonio, and the next movie. D'Antonio D'Antonio said that I was going to let you live your life however you wanted, but you came back. You came back. You did a whole rampage where you took down the Russian mob, and because you came back, I wanted to cash in my favor. So John Wick 2 is basically a consequence of John Wick not being able to control himself, going on a rampage of revenge in the first movie. And then then he kills D'Antonio at the end of John Wick 2, which makes him excommunicado, and John Wick 3 is him suffering the consequences of his actions in the second movie. And Winston suffers the consequences of helping John Wick. Lawrence Fishburne's character, the king, and long live the king, that guy. He's suffering the consequences of helping John Wick. Everyone is suffering consequences, okay? That's why it's so interesting, because that's why people love it so much, at least one of the reasons, aside from the gunplay and the mythology they're building around John Wick, is that there's consequences are not forgotten. If you perform an action, there's going to be an equal and opposite reaction. Okay, you kill D'Antonio inside the Continental, you're going to be excommunicado and you're going to be sanctioned for death. That's what happened to John Wick. He was marked for death because he killed a high table member in the Continental. That's why a lot of these people don't really. That's why I'm guessing so many people, so many fans completely dislike Picard and The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, because they seem to just dismiss the idea of consequences for the sake of putting on something cool on the screen. DJ Jim Voices, thank you very much for the 5. Appreciate that. Cisco would have been lie. Okay, hand her over to us, or I'm firing bioweapons at you from my pimpan. Oh yes, thank you very much. You're my hero today. That's completely accurate, DJ Jim Voices. That's exactly what Cisco would do. He said, "You either surrender her, or I'm going to just obliterate your entire fleet with bioweapons." Okay, I'll show you the Cisco's pimpan. He'll bring up the Defiant, which has obviously been fixed with like 10,000 different cannons. It's basically, I'm pretty sure if Cisco was at the lead of this thing and he brought in the Defiant, his ship, the Defiant, would basically be just the ship version of a Death Star cannon. You either surrender or we're going to blow up your whole fleet with one shot. That would be Cisco. Thank you very much for that, DJM Voices. I enjoyed that. Thank you very much. Pour one out for Cisco. He's my all-time favorite captain. And Picard being a good second runner-up. With Janeway being a good dead last. Actually, you know what? It's a good dead last between Archer and Janeway, but I think I just like Janeway more. They're both really, really smug. I'm not really sure. But anyway.
Is if you're making an episodic series, that's fine. That's the way it is. But you didn't do that. You opted to make a story arc that spans the entire series. But at the same time, you want no consequences and you have no payoff for the plot points you set up. What the hell is the point? Anyway, let's move on. So, let's talk about the Romulans. They're apparently extremely scared of androids. Can't really find any evidence of that in previous Star Trek, but fuck it. This series wasn't made by people.
Yeah, it's a new bit of lore they added in their chat. Suddenly, Romulans are really afraid of synthetics and cybernetics. They even say that they say that you don't see Romulan cyberneticists or robotics divisions because it goes back a long time when Romulan lore, which is an absolute lie. They have clones. They have cyberneticists. Okay, there's this one episode where where there's a traitor from Romulus comes over to the Enterprise, and he's talking to Data, and he says, Romulan cyberneticists would have a field day with you. So obviously they had cyberneticists. Obviously they're interested in robotics. Okay, obviously that's the case. It just happens to be it's having to kind of forget that little bit of lore, didn't they? Just so they can have their synthetics are bad and organics are racist sort of scenario. But yeah, Romulans did have a canonically established cybernetic division. They had Romulan mind probes and everything. They had all kinds of machines and gadgets and all kinds of stuff. I see a Rocket Sailor, thank you for $1.99. Appreciate that. They forget Starfleet got taken by insects in TNG. Yeah, the interesting thing about that, why it never came back up again, was that the insects were supposed to be the Borg. They were going to have these insect things take over Starfleet, which they had one episode of. And then they kind of scrapped that idea and then turned those insects into the Borg. So I think it ended up being a lot better. I wasn't really into that insect thing. The Borg, however, were really, really interesting. Really, really different. I see Brave Bend. In Zeta Gundam, Amuro refuses to go to space because he accidentally killed Layla Sun in the OYW. Yeah, see, look, everyone loves to see the consequences. That's what gives us stakes. Okay, that's what gives us stakes. Seeing the heroes do something outrageous for the sake of one victory, saving the universe or something, and then us thinking, oh no, what's going to be the consequences of this? Are they going to get executed? Are they going to get jailed, excommunicated? Are they going to get are they going to ruin something else so that they can save this? It makes it much better, gives it much more substance if you remember the idea of consequences. Okay, so if you take out consequences, you're taking out so much. You're leaving out so much potential substance, so much potential storytelling elements. But they don't like consequences because SJWs and NPCs don't like consequences. They want to do whatever they want and ruin whoever they want forever without any backlash. They hate backlash. It's, by the way, chat, have you noticed? I don't know if you noticed it. I don't know how many times you argue with SJWs on Twitter. But one thing they really cannot stand, one thing SJWs really cannot stand in the least, is when you're arguing with them and you quote tweet them. They do not like it when you quote tweet them because they're being held accountable. They're being held more accountable for their words than if you just responded to them in like a thread. So you try that out, chat. If you ever find yourself in a argument with an SJW on Twitter, just quote tweet them every time. They absolutely hate it. They hate it. And it's really, really funny to see how much they hate it. Let's see here. John Doe, Literature Devil, is a fan of SF Debris. Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, he kind of more or less didn't change my mind or anything. He kind of confirmed my what my opinions were already. Because I already had seen Voyager, TNG, and DS9 before I ever even discovered SF Debris. But he does a good job of pointing out a lot of things. I don't always agree with him. But he does a good job pointing out things, and he's also very, very entertaining. I really like SF Debris, as he makes very, very good reviews. I quite enjoy his videos quite a lot. So let's see here. Oh, Criminal Imagination, thank you very much for the 10. Appreciate that. So the writer's goal was to make people mad. Mission failed. I'm not mad. I'm laughing hysterically. Yeah, it's more like we're laughing hysterically, and we're kind of disappointed and just laughing at the absurdity of Picard. Billions of dollars was put into these things and it's wasted on glorified YouTube video response. Yeah. Pretty much. And at the end of the day, chat, the joke is on them. Because, I'm sitting here watching Picard, and yeah, I might get a little angry, I might get a little annoyed, I might laugh hysterically at the nonsense they put these characters through. But at the end of the day, they're the ones that spent millions of dollars on this. They're the ones out millions of dollars. And well, I'm over here. Okay, I can easily just go back to I can go back on CBS and watch TNG, or watch I can watch TNG, I can watch DS9. I just go back to those shows that were great and just forget about Picard. So at the end of the day, the only people who really lost anything were the showrunners and the show producers. Yeah, you won by making me upset or annoyed or making me laugh at the absurdity, ruining Picard for a little bit. But at the end of the day, you're the one that spent millions of dollars on this. Okay? You're the ones that purposely ruined this just to make me angry. So that we don't come back for the second show run and you get fired and you're looking for another job in another year. I'm the one over here just saying, okay, well, just brush off Picard and I'll just go back to TNG. Okay, I can go back to these other properties, I can go back to these other franchises, these other series with no problem. Okay, I'm not. There's no skin off of my nose in all respect, At the end of the day, you're out millions, and I'm watching TNG and enjoying myself. So I think that at the end of the day, the joke is on you, Star Trek Picard, and the showrunners of Star Trek Picard. I think we won, chat. At the very end of the day, we're the ones who won. We got a little bit annoyed, but they're out millions of dollars and possibly a job in maybe a year or less. Let's see here. Tyler Preston, I was blocked by this guy on Twitter when I called him out for lying about something I never said. They tend to do that. They really love to block. Let's see here. Insult the Human Race, like when Patrick Willems had everybody point out that he called Star Wars movies about space wars intended for children. Easy example, I know, but it works. Yeah. Hey, the funny thing is, he did that in his latest video too. Like he said that he really complained about Star Wars. He didn't really like Rise of Skywalker, and he wore that shirt. That Star Wars movies are movies about space wars intended for children. I mean, how unself-aware can you get? Let's see here. KH, thank you for the 5. Appreciate that. As what Alfred Pennyworth said in The Dark Knight Rises, the movie, some people like to see the world burn. Yeah. At this point, you really ruined it. As Cisco said, you do quote off, as Cisco said in DS9, that one episode where he's playing a Bond-esque villain, Dr. Noah, where Bashir is running through his personal fantasy and all that. It's a long story, but basically, Ben Sisko was playing the part of a James Bond-esque villain, and he says sometimes you have a house that's so infested that you have to burn down the house and rebuild it, and that's what he was doing. That's essentially what he was doing. And this is where it is, chat. Okay, so all of our franchises have been infiltrated and infested by social justice warriors to such a degree. We kind of have to burn down the house and then have it rebuild. But fortunately for us, it's not that definitive because we can go back to TNG. We can go back to DS9. We can go back to the original series. We can go back to the original trilogy of Star Wars. Right? No skin off our nose. There's plenty of media out there we can go back to that are great and fantastic. So we're over here enjoying TNG. We're over here enjoying DS9. We're over here enjoying the original trilogy, and the people who wanted to make us angry are out millions. I think we get the last laugh at the end of the day, chat. And not only are they out millions, they pretty much created Mauler as a career. They pretty much almost created me as a career. So not only did they make they made us mad for a little bit, but they're making their mistakes and their horrific portrayals of these characters and these horrific treatment of these franchises. At the end of the day, they're making a lot of YouTubers a lot of money. A lot of YouTubers who they hate, they're making them a lot of money. Okay, I know Yellow Flash covers this. Tug covers this. Covers their nonsense, and their nonsense is them trying to make us angry. But at the end of the day, they're making people like Tug and Yellow Flash and Mauler bank. So at the end of the day, not only do we still have the things that we love. Can we still go back to the things that we love when the franchises were still great? A lot of YouTubers out there, like Mauler and Yellow Flash and Tug, they're making a pretty penny off of their nonsense. So at the end of the day, Tug, Yellow Flash, Mauler making pretty pennies, making a lot of money off of their nonsense. And Ethan and Skyver, World Class Bullshitters, all making money off of their nonsense. And we still having access to old franchises, to old series that we can go back to and enjoy thoroughly without the woke nonsense creeping in. And they're out millions and possibly out of a job. So, yeah, good job making us angry for about 5 minutes. We'll sit back here laughing at you, and when we're done laughing at you, we'll just go back to enjoying the good stuff from Star Trek. Reconcile, thanks for the $4.99. Appreciate that. Could the problem be that this generation grew up on fantasy stories and not sci-fi stories, so Romans became dark elves and they can imagine new tech? It could be. I don't know. Were they raised on fantasy stories? It could be, because they really made Romulans more elf-like than they were in the original or the Next Generation. They're far more elf-like. They're pretty much the elves from Lord of the Rings, which I personally didn't mind because they had a decent setup into why Elnor was that awesome and everything. And so, I mean, it could be. However, I think the real problem is that they can't imagine anything. They don't have imaginations really at all. I think that's the big problem here. So see what else Undoomed has to say.
Who watch Star Trek. It was made by people who hate Star Trek, but they still want the brand recognition, so they're just going to make their own series and slap the name on it.
And that's the big problem, chat. That's a huge problem, chat. Okay, this is a pattern with Star Wars, Doctor Who, Star Trek, and the people who are in control of these franchises. They actively hate the franchises they're working in. They just want the brand recognition. They want to make their own stories, like Rian Johnson wanted to make his own story. He just wants the title of Star Wars to be slapped on his work so that he gets instant success. Because that's what these people want, chat. They don't want to work. They're very lazy. They can't imagine anything on their own. They hate the idea of actually working and building up something to success, as opposed to just being handed success. But you can't be handed success. You can be handed a popular franchise. You can be handed a very popular franchise like Star Wars or Star Trek. But just because you work in a popular franchise does not mean that that your work is good or even acceptable, or that the fans are obligated to like your work just because it's part of the franchise. Well, they'd like to make you think so. They call you toxic if you don't give them instant praise. The thing is, chat, you're not toxic. We're not toxic. It's a lie on their part. They're trying to revise history. Okay?
Course correction to appeal to big dumb fanboys.
They need to appeal to us big dumb fanboys, chat. They forgot to do that. See, Matthew J. Mimnall, they are also creating an entertainment vacuum. New series will rise and thrive, and these people won't have any influence over them. They are giving away their power too. Yeah, they're giving the power. They're giving the power away to independent creators now. The independent scene, I don't think has ever been this lucrative, this popular, because modern media, the mainstream media, is just really losing touch with what the fans want. Let's see here. Sidebar. When I heard Disney acquired Star Wars, I knew it was screwed. I didn't think so at first. I know Razor Fist predicted this correctly. We'll be crying for Lucas before the end. I was more optimistic. I usually am more optimistic when this comes out. I was more optimistic with Picard and Star Wars. Unfortunately, the optimism was misplaced, and they just ruined everything. Picard started off okay, like I said, but then it just crashed and burned. It's really crashed and burned. Let's see here. Okay, thank you for the 2. Appreciate that. Maybe Dark Elves is the kink. Oh no. Don't talk about SJWs and their kinks. It's just a whole other conversation. That's a whole nother nightmare you really don't want to go down. Okay, just you wanted to go down that rabbit hole. Go over to Mediker's channel. I won't be covering that here, but I'm really hoping that there won't be any Dark Elf kinkiness going along anywhere near social justice and NPC nonsense. Okay, no, just keep that away from us. These people are weirdos, straight up weirdos. Micah / Dark Fantasy Writer. Let's see here. I've seen so many shows and movies that seem to take the franchise name and slap it across the face and stab it in the back. Number one example of this is Star Wars. Exactly. Absolutely. They hate these franchises, and when they get a hold of them, they kind of ruin them because they don't care about the lore, they don't care about the characters, they don't care about the decades of established legacy, and they definitely do not care about the fans. Okay, which is why I always tell them, always say, what you need to do to be successful, okay, is to
course correction to appeal to big dumb fanboys.
Course correction. Make a course correction. They need to make course corrections, chat, to appeal to us big dumb fanboys. Okay, that's how you make successful works in an established franchise. You have to appeal to the fan base. You could do things that are different, but as long as the heart and soul of the franchise is respected, then I don't think you'll have any problems for the most part.
So anyway, the Romulans say that the androids are going to destroy the galaxy. Picard gets all hot and bothered by this racist attack on the androids. They do everything they can to stop the Romulans. And then in the end, it turns out the Romulans are right all along. When push comes to shove, the androids try to destroy all life in the galaxy. But they...
I don't know if that was a mistake or not, chat, but I was rooting against the Romulans because they were the bad guys. They were doing all of the bad stuff, and they were hurting Picard, and they were hurting all the people that Picard was trying to save and protect. But by the end, before it was all said and done, I was rooting for the Romulans. I was hoping that they would wipe out this little smug colony of synthetic life forms. I was really hoping they would win. I was all right. Come on, Romulans, get over there and wipe out all these synthetics because they turned out to be evil androids, and they were treated like misunderstood androids, synthetics, by the script. I was really hoping the Romulans would come in and wipe them all out. Didn't happen. But I was really hoping, and that's probably not a good idea to get me to do something so terrible, to move the story in such a direction that I, as an audience member, I, as a viewer, would move from supporting the heroes to supporting the villains. That's not a good sign, because that's the same thing that happened in Star Wars, at Disney Star Wars. Same thing that happened in Star Trek. Same thing that happens whenever you have woke nonsense. We have woke people taking the helm of a franchise. The heroes are so unlikable and smug that you tend to go over to sympathizing with the villains. At least that's been the case with me, anyway. Let's see here. Hello, Attila. Hello, Literature Devil. I wonder if this plot is inspired by Mass Effect. I wonder. I wonder. Yeah. Picard, as we know, stole pretty much everything from Mass Effect. He wasn't even trying to tell his own story. He just copied and pasted Mass Effect and then slapped the Star Trek label on it. I guess, was he trying to get like a paycheck so he could pay for his latest yacht? Pay for another kilo of cocaine? I don't know. Obviously, there wasn't that much care taken into the show. They say that there was, but if you're a fan of Star Trek, there obviously wasn't. John Doe, J.J. Abrams, Kurtzman, and their ilk can't make course corrections because they don't understand how time and space works. Yeah, it seems to be the case. That really seems to be the case. They don't know how to do things correctly. They're more like, have you ever seen Kung Pao? They're kind of like the Kung Pao Wimplo versions of directors. I did things in the series that make fans angry, making me brilliant. I divided the fan base, making my movie an absolute masterpiece. Okay, Wimplo in the Kung Pao, he was trained wrong as a joke, so that losing to Wimplo is winning. I am bleeding, making me the victor. Won't you try my face to your fist style, that sort of thing. So, yeah, they're Ryan Johnson, Kathleen Kennedy, J.J. Abrams, the showrunners for Picard. They're all Wimplo. Okay, they're Wimplo. I see here. Tyler Preston. There was already a Batman YA novel called Batman Nightwalker. It was about a young Bruce Wayne befriending the girl in Arkham Asylum. She's part of a group of killer vigilantes. Oh, that sounds interesting, actually. It actually sounds like an interesting premise. Because she's already locked away. And a lot of tragedy just implicit in that. Anyway, let's see what else he has to say.
Still play it off like we're not supposed to agree with the Romulans. And after they've demonstrated that they're completely able and willing to...
Yeah, by the way, chat, just to clarify, it wasn't just the fact that these people were smug. These synthetics were really smug and almost intolerable. But Soji, the character they're trying to... that Picard has been trying to protect, and the character that Romulans have been trying to destroy because they have designated her as the Destroyer, the one who would call the Reapers of Star Trek to eliminate all organic life. They call her Destroyer, and guess what she does? She actively starts destroying. She actively starts calling forth the Reapers, knowing they would eliminate all organic life. And from then on, I'm saying, okay, destroy Soji. She's obviously lost cause, but apparently, Picard. It's written as if Picard is doing the right thing by sacrificing himself to save Soji. Like, no, destroy her. Get the Romulans and destroy her. She's trying to wipe. She is fully aware that calling these things are going to wipe out all organic life in the galaxy, and she's still calling them. No, no. I've lost all connection, all sympathy, all empathy to Soji. Okay, you've cut me off forever. Okay, you knowingly. It would be one thing if she didn't know. She thought this was going to be helping out synthetics or something, and she didn't know be wiping out the galaxy. But she knew. She was explicitly told that doing what she was doing would wipe out all organic life. But because she was fighting oppression by the organics, I guess it was treated as fine by the script. Sure. I wish they would have killed off Soji.
Destroy the galaxy, the Federation decides to unban them, because apparently nothing makes you more trustworthy than trying to destroy all life. What the hell is going on? Anyway, moving on. Remember when they were having their pointless pizza episode, right? Deanna explained that her son had a lethal disease that could be easily cured by something you could easily find in a positronic brain of an android. Who the hell?
This part is a really good example of how they don't understand the characters of Star Trek. Let's check this out.
Writes the tech stuff for this shit. Yes, I also use Siri to cure cancer, but fuck it, let's move on. Do you really think that Will Riker and Deanna Troi would just sit back and let their son die if they knew there was something out there that could cure it and it was just a matter of it being illegal? They would break that law in a second. Any parent would. What the hell is wrong with the writers? Are they androids? So let's talk about 7 of 9.
Okay, so there you have it, chat. There you have it. If you ever seen Star Trek, the Next Generation, and you've seen Diana Troi and Riker, especially Riker, you would know that they would not stop at, oh, it's against the law, I better not do that then. No, they're always going against commands. They're always going against protocol and flirting with breaking the law, even breaking the law in some instances, if they thought what they were doing was the right thing. And having known that, are you trying to tell me? Are you really trying to tell me that Riker and Diana Troy, the people who would do anything for their friends and family, including breaking the law, including ruining their own lives, potentially, that they would have a cure for their beloved child in their hands, and then not be able to acquire it because it's illegal. What a lame excuse. And now they're just well pining over it, they're whining over it, they're crying over it. Okay, the real Riker, the real Diana Troy would stop at nothing to cure their child. Especially if all that was laying in this separating them from their child's life and salvation was a small illegal procedure. I don't know about you, chat, but if it was, your child was dying and the cure existed, it was just illegal because I don't know, it was non-taxable, or the drug comes from a country we're at war with or something, or we're enemies with, they have an embargo on. Then, I'm not going to stop at that. What if the cure was, I don't know, pot? What if pot cured some sort of illness? Would you really not buy marijuana for your dying kid if it would save your life? It would save their life. Yeah, like, are you really that straight edge that you would let the beloved child die because, if curing them, the cure was marijuana, and marijuana was illegal, would you really let them die because it was illegal? If you could get it, if you could procure it, I don't think that would be even a question. Okay, it's worth the risk. It's worth the legal consequences if your child could be possibly saved, especially if you're talking about someone like Riker and Diana Troy. It's just not fitting with the current characterization. That one servant of Santania who wishes Minlan won. I bet they're kind of people who think that banning guns stops criminals getting guns illegally. Yeah, did you know when they banned all drugs, made drugs illegal, that stopped everyone from doing drugs, right? So obviously, banning guns will stop criminals from gaining guns. Doesn't really work out that well, does it? It's almost as if you ban all guns, only criminals will have them. But I'm pretty sure you're right on that part. I'm pretty sure you're right.
She was always very logical and efficient, and her slogan was pretty much, I will adapt. Now she's just some drunk asshole. I mean, I wouldn't mind having such a character. Assholes are awesome in TV series, but that's just not 7 of 9. It was also established.
Let's see here. Let's see. Thank you very much, Don Doe. Appreciate that comment. I really do. Anyone else remember how Bashir's parents broke the eugenics laws to save him? Yeah. Eugenics was against the law, but Bashir had this sort of like a disability. I think he had a mental disability or something like that. But his parents stopped at nothing. They stopped at nothing to save their kid. They were so desperate to save their child that they went to an illegal. They put him under an illegal procedure that may very well have killed him or left him permanently damaged in a variety of other ways. Fortunately for him, he was able to get out to the other side as a relatively normal person. But yeah, they not only broke the law, but they paid the price. They happily paid the price to save their son Bashir, to give him a better life. They did that. So if Bashir's parents took that illegal action, put Bashir under a potentially lethal operation, and absolutely illegal operation, that would actually bar him from Starfleet. And eventually didn't, because he kind of understood. But they did that. Why couldn't Riker and Troy do the same for their child? Why couldn't Riker and Troy go to those lengths to save their own beloved kid? If all that was needed was a small drug that was created with synthetic research. Doesn't make any sense. It just seems like they didn't care that much. That they were too lazy or something. That's not Diana Troy. That's not, and it's especially not Riker. I could maybe tolerate Diana Troy not going to that length, but Riker? No way. Riker would kill himself. Go into certain and sudden death if it meant saving someone he cared about, saving someone he loved. It would be no question at all.
In Voyager that she could not process alcohol correctly. But they don't care. They haven't seen Voyager. They don't give a shit. But I guess she pickled her liver until it learned or something. Also, apparently 709 is a lesbian now. But even though that's completely incongruous with everything we've seen about her, I don't really give a shit. It's such a minor point, whatever. Besides, lesbians are sexy. Give me some hot girl-on-girl action with 7.
Let's see, KH, thank you very much for the 2. Appreciate that, KH. So LD, can you link his channel to me? Sure. Let me see here. I think it is his channel is Undoomed. Let's go to Undoomed. The channel is called Undoomed, and it should be on there. I don't think I can. Let me see if I can link it. Let's see if I can link it. 1 second, chat. Let me see if we can. That way, you can go to his videos. I kind of stopped watching Undoomed as well as all these other people who were associated with the what was it? The skeptic community, but Undoomed remained cool. I mean, a lot of skeptics kind of became obsessed with the smell of their own farts, but Undoomed remained. He didn't go. He didn't go crazy. Okay, I guess maybe being diving deeper into his day job kind of kept him from doing that. I don't know, but he always seemed level-headed to me. He always seemed like a good guy, and he's remained a good guy as far as I know. So he's really fun to talk to, all the good stuff. So yeah, I mean, if you're not into that old style, get a SJW video and make a video debunking it style of things, the what was it called, a roast video? I don't know what they're called. I forgot what they're called. But I used to watch them all the time. But if you're not into that, you might not like all of his videos. I don't know. But he's putting out stuff that's pertaining to Picard and all that stuff. So yeah, these are interesting to me. And he does a lot of streams. If you're interested in his streams, where they kind of just hang out and everything. So yeah, I mean, he's still producing content that I like. It's just that he doesn't produce it very often anymore because I think he's been very busy. That's what he said. He's very busy with his day job, which is fine. Which is fine. But yeah, I mean, that's expecting I'm just telling you what you can expect from his channel. It's not all about Star Trek and Picard. No, his channel was not predominantly about covering entertainment. But they are pretty good. He's a very entertaining character. He's a very entertaining personality. And he's also a fan of Dr. House, which is also I'm a big fan of. I'm also a big fan of. So yeah, I think I linked his channel in the chat. So if you're interested, you can go there whenever you want to and check out what he has to say. Yeah, I mean, I recommend his channel. In fact, go over there. He has nice production quality and all that good stuff. So yeah, go to Undoomed, check him out. So you like it. Rocket and Sailor, for $1.99, appreciate that. Thinking the Federation is only made up of humans. Yeah, the Federation is made up of a lot of different people. A lot of different people. I think there's 1,000 worlds or something like that. A lot of worlds, a lot of different people in the Federation. In fact, that's one of the plot points in Picard. A lot of the worlds in the Federation were going to pull out because they were helping the Romulans, which was a really dumb thing to get angry over. I understand the animosity with the Romulans, but why would you ever want to leave the Federation unless the whole fascist sort of aspect is true? Anyway, let's continue.
9, come on, you know you want it. So then we, of course, have to talk about the ending.
Hey, morons! Fucking morons!
I mean, what else can you say? Picard is...
KH, think YouTube unsubbing from... Yeah, that seems to happen for some reason. I've gotten some people come to me who said YouTube had unsubbed them from me whenever I release a new video or something. YouTube has been unsubbing people from channels for some reason. I don't know why. But they have been. Let's see here. Lacacious Primate, thank you very much for the 5. Appreciate that. The Chebon, not even try. Based on his novels, he is capable of crafting a narrative. So was it all the writers clashing? Him not caring or just failing? I'm pretty sure it was him not caring, him actively being hostile to fans. Because he even said that he's really actively against this anti-SJW people. He wants to make them angry. So that's the problem here. So it's not just because you can write a story does not mean it's going to be good in these circumstances. Because I've seen several examples of people who have proven to be good writers or good creators or good actors, but they get so obsessed with these politics, with these SJW NPC politics, that they go from making something out of love, which is what you should be doing, something out of love and passion, to to making something out of hate. So there's a difference here. That's why even creative people, even people who have proven to be successfully creative, are having such a hard time, such a very, very difficult time creating something that people enjoy, even if they are talented, even if they have a proven track record of talent and really producing fun entertainment. It's why when they come in recently in modern ages, this modern time, the work is just nonsense. It's just terrible. It's low quality, low tier, low effort. Is because they stopped making things out of love, because of these politics cause you not to love anymore. They cause you to hate. So when they go to create something new, something, even if it's a franchise or new IP, it's no longer being made out of love. Instead, it's being made out of hate. It's being made to make you angry. And he admitted this in an interview. Rian Johnson admitted that in his interview. It's always about making us angry. It's always about making something out of hate. So I think he had enough control, but unfortunately, the politics got in the way. His adherence to social justice nonsense really, really hindered his creativity. So even if he was once good, his adherence to SJW nonsense drove him to make something out of hate rather than what it should have been made out of, which is love. So thank you very much for that. Appreciate it.
Is a robot now? I mean, I couldn't really believe what I was seeing when I saw that. Why would I want to see season 2 if Picard is actually dead and he's now replaced with a robot? And you have to ask yourself, is it fucking impossible for J.J. Abrams and Alex Kurtzman to write a story without killing off the fucking main character and then just bringing them back to life 5 minutes later? They did it several times in Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I get the whole resurrection thing, but it's really cheap when you do it here. Okay, it's really, really cheap. And putting Picard in a robot body? No. Okay, we need gunnery sergeant. Okay, we need the gunnery sergeant in here, over there at CBS now, to bully these people into doing the right thing. Okay, because they're doing the wrong thing. You don't kill off Picard and then put his consciousness into a robot body. No. It takes away humanity. He was made into a Borg. You'd think that would be incredibly traumatizing. Like it took away his real body again. It took away his humanity again. And they just don't understand the history of Star Trek, the history of Picard at all. It's really insulting. This is where it really made me mad. Where it really perturbed me, because they just don't understand Picard. It looked like they did for a while when they had this flashback, this PTSD moment when he entered the Borg cube. But they kind of forgot about that. They kind of forgot about so many other plot points, like Raffi's son, or the murder that doctor committed. They just kind of forget about it for the moment. They're writing for the moment, not for continuity's sake. Let's see here. Insult to the Human Race, thank you very much for the 5. Appreciate that. From DJ M Voices, what happened to "That's how we're going to win"? not fighting what we hate, saving what we love. Oh no. Don't. They better not say something like that in here. That's how we're going to win. Not fighting what we hate, but protecting what we love. No. That was said after Rose Tico kind of ruined their plans and doomed everyone to death. Yeah, a horrible, horrible line. You save what you love by fighting what you hate. You save what you love by fighting what is threatening the things that you love, which is probably something that you hate. Okay. What a useless term of phrase. What a useless thing to say. Useless excuse for ruining Finn's plan and stopping him from doing a very nice heroic sacrifice. Rocket Sailing for $99, appreciate that. In before the next season has Picard as a woman. Oh no. I actually wouldn't put it past him now he's a robot. I'm surprised they didn't wake him up as a woman. Okay, so why didn't they wake him up as like in a female body? One of those like bodies from the little smug synthetic colony. I'm surprised they didn't do that now as you mention it.
They did it with Kirk in Star Trek The Star Trek 2009. Hell, even JJ's TV series Lost is all about killing people and bringing them back.
Oh, right, the resurrection thing. Because if you bring back, this is why in Dr. Alpha, which is still available on Indiegogo, by the way, but Dr. Alpha Milker Child, which is why in Dr. Alpha, one of the rules one of the rules I've instilled, or I'm trying to work by, is no resurrection, unless you pay a heavy price for it. So resurrection, because resurrection, especially if it's a heroic sacrifice, really takes away from the substance, really takes away from the power of that sacrifice. Okay? Really takes away from the power of that sacrifice. So what you don't want to do is have this nice big send off of the character, have him sacrifice himself and have him end his life to save the future like Picard did. Even if we don't agree with it, whatever. And then bring him back. It really takes all the bite, all the stakes, all the weight out of that sacrifice if that sacrifice wasn't really a sacrifice at all. So not a good move. I would suggest not doing that unless it's absolutely powerful. I mean, absolutely necessary or correct according to the narrative, or appropriate according to the narrative. Like if the narrative was building up to it, for example. Insult to the Human Race. We were referring more to these writers' attitude of ruining franchises to anger us, but Rose's blunder is always worth revisiting. Yeah. And that does what's saving the one we love. They're not saving anything, unfortunately. They're just fighting what they hate, which is us. The dumb fanboys. They really hate us. And that's really saving the things that they love, though.
Course correction to appeal to big dumb fanboys.
Yeah. You're not making any course corrections to appeal to us big dumb fanboys. Barry Bend and Battle Angel Alita. Some characters die and come back, especially a certain doctor. But the sheer act of it traumatizes them. So that's it. That's a good way to do it. So if you have, usually when SJWs handle it, they come back to life and there's nothing wrong with it. There's like, okay, I'm back to life. It's gonna go on with my day-to-day normal life. That's fine. But if you're going to have someone come back to life, if you're going to do that, then at the very least they should pay some sort of price for it. I'll say this for Voyager. There's one instance I really like, and of course I don't think SF the Breed agrees with this, but one thing I really liked, and it actually involves Neelix. Probably when the University hated characters in Star Trek, but it involves Neelix, where Neelix dies. He was very religious, and Neelix dies, and then they bring him back to life, and he remembers nothing. In his religion, he goes to a big world tree, and he will see all of his loved ones again, and it's great. Basically, it's heaven, it's paradise. But when he dies, and when he comes back to life, he sees nothing. And the whole episode is about the consequence of Neelix dying and dealing with the fact that he saw nothing in the afterlife. And maybe he doesn't remember, maybe he can't comprehend, or maybe he never died at all. Maybe there's absolutely nothing after death. So it's all these things put together. So if you're going to resurrect someone in your story, don't just don't just bring them back to life and then it's just, the next day as normal. It's just walking away as normal. That's why I really hate, and that's one thing I hate in superhero comics. It kind of killed the idea of death without consequence. They just come back to life and it's just business as usual. When you bring a character back to life, bring them back to life and have them suffer the consequences of dying. Have them be traumatized by that death. Have them pay the price. There's another thing about coming back to life. Remember, there's you pay the price with your soul. You pay the price with a little bit of your humanity, like in Game of Thrones. You can come back to life, but you pay the price with a little bit of your humanity. A little bit of your soul dies forever, but you can come back to life. And see, Gojira 387. The true soldier fights not because he hates what is in the front of him, but because he loves what is behind him. Okay, Chesterton. Yeah, that's a better version of that. Because the soldier fights to defend what he loves. He's not because he's going to win not by fighting the things that he hates, but protecting things that he loves. The soldier fights to protect what he loves. The soldier fights what he hates. The soldier fights what he doesn't hate. He fights the enemy. and he fights to protect the ones he loves. And see a golden fox, MFG 315, warning nonsense. Well, it definitely is not morning here. Well, that's what it is, because here, in my time zone, it's morning. However, I realize that people have different time zones. So if the show takes place in a time zone where it's not morning, then you could say morning nonsense, right? So you just pronounce it a little bit differently. Let's see here. Gojira 387, you cannot love a thing without wanting to fight for it. Exactly. You cannot love a thing without wanting to fight for it. That's exactly what I've been saying. That's why they call you toxic people. That's why they call you toxic chat. They call you toxic because you love these franchises and you want to fight for it because they're being ruined right in front of your eyes. So spot on yet again. Anyways, let's see what else he has to say.
Killing them, bringing them back, and now they've done it to Picard. Fuck you. Fuck you very much. And of course, they did the opposite thing for Data, brought him back from the dead just so they could kill him 5 minutes later. The hell's wrong with these people? I'm just so appalled by this whole move to make Picard a robot that I really don't have anything further to say about it. I'm just shocked and disgusted. If that's the best thing you can come up with for your story, you need to be fucking run out of Hollywood. Anyway, let's talk about the ripping off factor. Isn't it enough?
Okay, it looks like Undoom is going to note several things that they ripped off, I think. It wasn't just Mass Effect, people. It wasn't just Mass Effect.
For the cyborgs versus humans yet. Like, if you read the intro crawl for Battlestar Galactica, everything they say in that crawl is true for Picard. Let's check it out. The Cylons were created by man. Well, synths in this case, but works. They rebelled. Yes, they certainly did on Mars. They evolved. Yes, Soji is certainly an evolution of Data. They look and feel human. That's exactly true. Some are programmed to think they are human. Yes, that is exactly true as well. There are many copies. Hell yeah, there's a shitload of copies. And they have a plan. Indeed, and that plan is apparently to destroy all life in the galaxy. Incidentally, the exact same goal as the Cylons had. For fuck's sake, you guys, did you just take this crawl and write the entire series around it? They're also ripping off Mass Effect and the Expanse, and of course, whenever you have a super intelligence, you kinda have to think about Skynet there for a second. But most of all, I think they're trying to rip off Marvel. It's like they really just wanted to make a superhero TV series, but they get stuck with Star Trek. And that's fine, you can have TV series about superheroes, but that's not Star Trek, assholes! Anyway, I'm sure there's a million other things you could say about this dumpster fire, but that's all I've got for you. Go away now.
And there we go. So, it did it rip off Battlestar Galactica? Maybe. One thing I do know, chat, was that it definitely ripped off Mass Effect to shameful degrees. Frankly, shameful degrees. Okay, it did a horrific job in trying to make its own thing. It's a shameful thing to do. Where they just straight up ripped off all of Mass. It's like they tried to. It's like they said, okay, you're making Picard, and we need a script, and the showrunners have spent all the money they got on cocaine and other various drugs, and said, "Oh no, we've got to make a script," and they just made a script in about 5 minutes. Like, what's that one game you liked? Oh yeah, Mass Effect. Let's just make Mass Effect. Okay, just write all the Picard scripts at once, and let's just make it Mass Effect. Okay, we need to get out of here. Let's see here. Like you just Primate. Anti-Trekker put a great mashup of Picard and Mass Effect on his channel, which shows scene after scene that was lifted. Wait, would you like to see that, chat? I think we can go on a little bit longer. Would you like to see that? Let's see. We say Anti-Trekker. Let's see here. I think I can do that. Let me know if you want to see that, chat. I won't put it on if you don't want to see it. But if you want to see it, see what the side-by-side comparisons. I think that'd be interesting to look at. Let's see here. I'm going to look it up real quick. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. So you can find it. If I can't find it, I can't put it up there, obviously. Let's see here. Let's see. Not coming up. Let's see here. I don't know. Maybe I'll find it for next time. Maybe I'll find it for next time. Anyway. I think we covered one more thing. That was Undoomed. Thank you very much, Undoomed, for that. I thought it was good. Let's see here. So Anti-Trekker put a great mashup of Picard. So let's see here. If someone can link that video in the chat, we'll see if we can cover it. If someone could link that video in the chat, I'll look it up. But until then, let's see here. We got a Flash. Your boy Yellow Flash came out with the video. My fellow degenerate. If you saw the beginning of this, I see. So Marvel Comics backs down. Comic industry collapse continues. New Warriors wrap up. So let's see what he has to say about this. Let's see here. Lucretius Primate. CBS is still involved in plagiarism lawsuit for Star Trek Discovery over indie game Tardigrade. So they have a bad record. So they do have a record of ripping things off already. Oh, that's not good. Let's see here. Is anything original? I did give you the playlist. Let's see here. A playlist? Let me see here. I don't remember the playlist. But anyway. Let's see here. So the Anti-Trekkie. Let's see if you can find that one real quick. So you get another shot. Let's see. The Impossible Box reaction. I don't know. If someone can link that video, we can cover it. But okay, let me see here. Let me see. Did I miss it? Hold on, chat. Hold on. Let's see here. Did I miss it? Let me see here. Let's see. CBS is this. Let me see here. So Light Yagami, you linked it. Okay. And go up. Let me go up. Let's see here. Let's see. I don't think I found it yet. Maybe I just can't see it. Maybe I'm passing over it. But let's go ahead and let's go do something else. I'll find it. I'll see if I can find it for tomorrow's stream. See if I can find it for tomorrow's stream. But anyway. Let's see here. Yeah, I see it. You say you linked it. I can't, but it's not showing up on my end for some reason. I'm not really sure why. You know what the title is called? I can look up it by the title. And like I said, chat, today's just not my day, it seems. Today's just not my day. Yeah, today's just not my day, chat, I guess. Anyway. Links shouldn't be disabled. I don't think so. I didn't disable them or anything. I think people have been linking stuff before, so I'm not really sure why it's not showing up. Maybe it's a glitch in YouTube now, which is a possibility. It's a possibility. And with enough of comics, here's another one I wanted to cover instead. Because if you're into anime, unfortunately, My Hero Academia being popular has caused it to come under fire from SJWs, and unfortunately, they have bent the knee to SJWs before. So here's your boy Yellow Flash on the down low.
I've covered a lot of stuff on this channel. A lot of hot takes. A lot of people mad about some nonsense. People going after some weird things. It's been a fun ride for a lot of it. But sometimes I just come across stuff that's so stupid, it really just kind of blows me away. And this is one of them. I got to say, the My Hero Academia fandom, some of them are just ridiculous. This show in general has gotten so many people going after it. It's been crazy. That whole thing with that Murta doctor, the birth dates of some of the characters.
So let's see here. Let's see. That's called Comparing Mass Effect to Star Trek Picard. I'll look it up real quick. But as far as this goes, yeah, there's one thing that the SJWs cannot stand, we cannot just stay away from, is its popular stuff. And My Hero Academia has become one of the most popular anime in the West these days. And good news, Chet. I found the video. So I'm pretty sure we get the gist of Yellow Flash's video. But essentially, one of the things they wanted to change was the name of a character, the whole name of a character, because his name was Dr. Maruta, which is essentially what the Japanese used to call Chinese and American prisoners of war, the ones they experimented on. It means wood, I believe. Have you ever heard of that? I forget what the numbers were, but a unit that produced all those horrific experiments. They're very, very famous. But they called their experimental people, the code name for the people they experimented on was Maruta. And I think it was Unit 731, something like that. But the people they experimented on was called Maruta, and the doctor in My Hero Academia was called Maruta, because he experiments on people. And of course, the SJWs can't leave well enough alone. They say, "Oh, that's offensive. That's it's bad. You should need to change the name because that name, that word is tied to a horrific event in history." And so I think they bit the knee on that one. I think they did. And now they're still going after I think what's his name? One of the characters has the same birthday as Hitler. But it's okay, chat. I found the video. We'll just go over this a little bit longer. We'll go this a little bit longer because I think Yellow Flash is getting to something interesting. But that's one thing they can't do, chat. If it becomes popular, the SJWs and NPCs cannot stand but to attack it. Which is why I'm really hoping that Dr. Alpha becomes popular so that they can come and try to force me into making changes, and then I can gleefully tell them no. Let's see here. Let's see. Rocket and Sailor for 999. Appreciate that. Look up Stabilized Star Trek for a quick laugh. Stabilized Star Trek. Maybe I'll open the stream tomorrow with Stabilized Star Trek. I'll check it out. Let's see here. KH, thank you very much for the 5. Appreciate that. I never followed My Hero Academia because I think the hype and popularity is overrated. I didn't follow it either, but Yellow Flash does. A lot of people I talk to, they do like it. So they tell me about it. And it's really hilarious how the SJWs, of course, are attacking it. Of course they are. We'll watch this, and then we'll watch we'll end the stream with the anti-trekker video. I think it'd be interesting. Let's see, Tyler Preston. I found another SJW YouTuber that we can make fun of. He's called Actual Context, and he wears a Captain America mask. Oh, I've seen that guy. I think people have pointed him out to me. I'll see about covering him on a future stream. Maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow I have something set up for tomorrow. At least one thing set up for tomorrow. But maybe the day after, maybe Friday or something. We'll see. I'll look into him. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. So let's see. Let's see what we have today. Let's see what Yellow Flash is going to be talking about in this video. Then after Yellow Flash is done, after we're done with the Yellow Flash video, we'll go into the anti-Trekkie video because I found it.
Triggering people. There was a recent thing with Gentle Criminal and La Brava, people saying that's toxic. And now we have this, and this has got to be one of the most ridiculous ones. So My Hero Academia's viewers criticize Studio Bones for animation quality for this one scene right here. Okay, got someone.
Let's see here. The one servant of Satania who wishes Minman won. Hitler's birthday is Weed Day. Are they going to cancel everyone who smokes pot? I don't think they'll cancel their favorite drug. That's pretty interesting. You should throw that back at them. My Hero Academia's main character has the same birthday as Hitler. Hitler's birthday is Weed Day. What? That'll be fantastic. And so they're right back in their face.
And that went and talked about it on Twitter. They got 11,000.7K likes, 774 comments, 1,400 retweets. So apparently a lot of people agree this is a big deal. It blows me away. I don't understand how they don't understand. I don't understand how you could be an anime fan and not understand that this is like in every anime where they cut corners. Okay, they just do it. They're in a lot of time restraints. They're cutting corners, trying to save some money. Look at Infinite 100%. All right, that whole episode was fantastic. The animation quality was top notch.
Yeah, one thing about anime chat, it looks good on the whole, but they do cut a lot of corners. Well, they do it so well. They pump the drama so well using music and everything that you really don't notice. You really don't notice. So have you ever, for example, have you seen anime? Have you ever seen an instance where they show a character's serious face while another character talks? You don't notice that they're cutting corners there because you're looking at the character's eyes. It's called I forgot what the actual thing is, but if you have a character or an actor produce a stoic face, like one that just has no emotions, then the audience psychologically can paint any emotion onto them. So you have the character maybe having maybe looking determined or mean or something, where most of their face is pretty much stoic. So you could, while you're painting the emotions you want them to have on that character, you're kind of empathizing with them because you know what they would be feeling. You would know what you'd be feeling in that instance. The other character is talking to them, but on screen nothing is moving. You just have a static image of a character looking at the screen, and then sometimes you have a close up of an eye, putting in the drama, having a close up of an eye, and having people talk while you look at that eye. Maybe they blink every once in a while, but the thing is, they're cutting corners again. There's no real animation going on. This is a nice picture of someone's close up of an eye, and also there's that whole thing where they have a close up of a character talking, and the whole scene, the whole dialogue is just them opening and closing their mouths. Again, that's cutting corners. And they do that not because they're particularly lazy, but because they need to produce episodes because they kind of cracked the whip over there in Japan. But two, they're really saving the budget for when they really need it, like the big fight scenes or the giant scenes where something huge happens, or where they really need something more intricate and complicated. So yeah, anime cut corners all the time, but they do it so well. You kind of either don't notice or don't really care because they really pump up the drama. They really pump up the comedy, whatever's going on. They really do a good job at portraying the mood they need to portray, and they don't really need. They take advantage of the effectiveness of stillness and of long shots to help convey everything, to help sell you that they're not actually cutting corners. Cage very much with 5. At least Hitler was right. Eugenics is correct way for human advancement at this point. You'd almost be convinced that were the case by these SJWs. Like we need, and they're the people who are pro-abortion too. People who are pro-abortion. So yeah, someone. What if they were aborted? They don't think about that, do they? Let's see here.
Really good, really well done. They spent a lot of time and money there, and then they'll cut the corners here. I see it all the time, especially on, weekly anime. It's just how it is. So anyway, people are just going to get mad about nonsense. Like I said, I don't know how you understand a show that's trying to keep up with the manga and really is just, let's face it, a lot of anime that's on a weekly schedule is rushed, and it's not going to change anytime soon. But I just wonder, do a lot of these My Hero fans even like the show? Because all they seem to do is bitch about it. That's all I ever see them doing, is getting mad about something. So this is kind of a more of a relaxed episode. It had to do with them releasing hero rankings to the public, and a group came in to check on their rankings, and they had a pose here at the end. You can see it's right here. Here's the still frame, and then here's the original image. This person complained about it and got over 11,000 likes. So, how do you not understand how this stuff works? I don't quite get that. But apparently, Bones, what the F? So then they added, feels good to be right long ago, and calling out how pretty disappointing Bones has been this whole season, and the people that said I was wrong agreeing with me. And goes on to take the original work, color it, and pass it off as their own, saying, I did some more justice compared to what Bones did. Looking for some, what I like to call, ass pats. Okay. And some people came in and actually roasted. So you traced his work. Yeah, the standards you guys have for the animators are weird. Do take into consideration that they don't trace. They are making an adaptation, which is a very good point. And
yeah, they're making an adaptation. That's what people kind of want if they're fans of the manga. They kind of want that in the anime. I want to see these scenes in the anime. I want these iconic scenes, these iconic events to happen in the anime from the manga. That's what we want. That's what I want if I read a book and they make a movie about that book. I want these iconic scenes to be in there at the right place, to look exactly like I want them to look. And the thing is, Raging Golden Eagle said to me that in his view, the way he sees things, how things go, because he's far more into anime than I am, or he's far more invested into how these things work, is that the anime doesn't really make all that much money. It's the anime is pretty much just a very, very flashy, very expensive commercial for the manga. That's essentially what it boils down to, in general terms. And see, the one servant of Sentania, which is Minlan Wan, cutting corners animation has been a meme in anime for some time. Smear animation, dull surprise, fish eyeing, and other stuff. Get over it. Get over it. Blue check marks. Exactly. They're going to cut corners but you know what? Even when they cut corners, the anime is still, according to in animation terms, and even narrative terms in a lot of cases, they're still head and shoulders above anything coming from the West these days, which is why they're kind of taking over. See, Criminal Imagination, thank you very much for the 5. Appreciate that. I don't like to call out cherry picking, but this is just that. I never expected anime to be 1-to-1. Exactly. It's not supposed to be 1-to-1. Like, it's an adaptation, which means things are going to be a little changed. They'll be changed a little bit. But they're just picking out these little things that are meaningless. I mean, that's like, oh, look, they just copied it. Or it's not how I wanted it to be. There's a difference between Snowflake and Safe Space and how everyone hated them, and then this. It doesn't make any sense.
And I agree with it. So it says, if you think you work harder than them because you made one still, they did when they have hundreds of frames to draw on a deadline, working 16 through 18-hour workdays. You are sorely mistaken. Nice art, but sacrifices have to be made for TV animation to be possible. That's a very good point. I don't know if this gets lost on people. When you're doing animation, you literally have to draw frame by frame by frame by frame. People cut corners.
Yeah, it's called the slang for it is tweening. It's called in-betweening. So when you have your keyframes are maybe like your character waving their hand. Your keyframes are maybe your character with the hand to the left, the hand in the middle, and the hand to the right. So to make the wave. And the tweening is in between the wave to make it look like a fluid motion of a wave. So it takes a lot of work and effort to just make one simple motion. So yeah, and it takes several frames of animation just to make a simple gesture. And sometimes they cut corners. Kind of have to, especially if they want to get things out on time, especially if they want things to be accurate. And especially if they want to save some of the budget for the big stuff. Rock and Sailor, thanks for $1.99. Appreciate that. Demands perfection, but won't buy anything. Exactly. They're always complaining. They're always demanding perfection. They're always complaining about one thing or another, but they will never buy anything. They're not actually invested in these franchises. They're invested long enough to complain, and then once they make a change, they either go away, or actually they don't go away. They find something else to complain about, or they go away long enough so they can think about what else to complain about on the show. Because once a series bends the knee, it's basically blood in the water for these sharks. I think we got it by now. I think we got the gist of this video. I say Cobalt Star in the West, especially today, it seems to be quantity over quality. Well, especially in anime, it seems to be quality and sometimes quantity. They know how to manage the budget. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the West, it seems to be quantity over quality in the West. Just do some cheap looking stuff and then produce as many episodes as you can. Just overload the populace with content. With anime, it's quality over quantity. So they come out with maybe 13 episode seasons Well, in West they come out with like 30 episode seasons, and in anime you can come out with 13 episode series. You have a 30 episode series, like from beginning to end, something like that. I mean, some of them last hundreds and hundreds of episodes, and they kind of get bogged down. But they tend to, in comparison to the West, anime, no matter how many corners they cut, tend to be head and shoulders in quality, in compared to Western products these days. Because Western products, they seem to be okay. Just pump something out so we can get our praise and get our paycheck. Anyway, I think we got through the Yellow Flash video. I think we pretty much finished it. Got the gist. Gojira 387. Japan animation is a commercial for comics. In America, animation was a commercial for toys. Sometimes with a comic as a commercial for the commercial. That's really accurate. Sometimes they had a comic about like toys and things you just see on commercials. So that's an interesting dynamic. But as far as Raging Gold Eagle said, yeah, that's pretty much the case in Japan, and in Japan at least it seems to be that the anime is just like an expensive commercial for the manga. I guess people watch the manga more or read the manga more than they watch the anime. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to Anti-Trekker, his video. I found it, chat. Let's see here. Comparing Picard to Mass Effect. Let's check out what he has to say, or what Anti-Trekker has to say. And full screen. And here we go, chat. Here we go. Okay, delete that. Okay. Now we have Shepard, and Shepard is now here's the side-by-side comparison of that memory sharing thing. I told you they copied that before. Why does that Shepard look so weird? Anyway, yeah, that's one of the things they blatantly stole. I didn't even realize that, but yeah, they stole that memory transfer thing, the memory warning thing.
Saw synthetics, slaughtering people, butchering them.
We have to stop them. We will. Something that was never intended.
And they even have the we have to stop them because the synthetics are going to start butchering people. That's the exact reason why the Romulans want to take down synthetics. It's the exact reason.
For organic minds at all.
You believe that the admonition is intended for synthetic minds?
The message was meant for our own people. It was coded so only organic beings could interpret it.
Life begins.
They didn't. I guess they didn't quite. I don't know. Hold on. Let me read that back again. Let me see here.
Synthetic minds.
The message was meant for our own people. It was coded so only organic beings could interpret it.
Life begins.
Yeah, they kind of switched it up on that one, but they still had the message only being able to be comprehended by one sort of person. So in Star Trek Picard, it's only synthetics can understand the message, and in Mass Effect, it's only organics that can understand the message. But they kind of still had the same idea of the memory flashbacks only being able to be interpreted by one type of person. This is getting ridiculous. I think, I don't know, did they get Mass Effect's permission? Did they get BioWare's permission to do all this? Because if they didn't, they might have another lawsuit on their hands.
The dance of division and replication. Imperfect.
Yeah, going over that,
Life is nothing but a genetic mutation.
Yeah, there we go. So they were going over how the message was translated, which is also happens in Mass Effect. The message eventually gets translated where you can actually understand what it has to say. It's just different. They're by different people. Here we go. Organic life is nothing but genetic mutation. An accident. Your lives are measured in years and decades. You wither and die. And then it's going to go on to say that we are eternal. Let's see. Go ahead and. I don't know what YouTube is going to take me down for, chat. So I'm going to see if I can do this without as little sound as possible.
Leads to synthetic life. But organics perceive this perfection as a threat. When they realize their creations do not age.
Okay, see what I mean, chat? They just coming right out and saying it. That it's about this show is about oppression, about synthetic oppression by organics. I didn't notice that in the very end. But that's essentially where they went with it.
Or become sick. Or die.
Organics create synthetics to improve their own existence, but those improvements have limits. To exceed those limits, synthetics must be allowed to evolve. They must, by definition, surpass their creators.
They will seek to destroy them, and in so doing, destroy themselves.
Yeah, they have the same exact messaging, same exact sources where they're coming from. Same exact thing they're coming from. Like the Star Trek Picard and Mass Effect have the same sort of like metaphors and philosophy behind them, as well as the same things that they stole from Mass Effect. It's kind of ridiculous. It's just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And so you go Geo387. Anyone else find it funny that NPCs support the cause of synthetics to replace life? I think it's I think we're kind of right on the money with the NPC thing. They're actually NPCs. They're synthetic life forms themselves trying to take over the human race. When you accept that as true, everything else makes sense. It's that meme.
The result is conflict, destruction, chaos. It is inevitable.
Beyond the boundaries.
The numbers isn't Mass Effect owned by EA? I'm not really sure if they're owned by EA. I know they were created by BioWare. But I'm not. Maybe I think did EA buy them out? I forgot. I don't keep close tabs on these things, but it could be. EA does own a lot of stuff. They own a lot of properties.
Of time and space, we stand.
By retreating beyond the edges of the galaxy, they ensure no one will accidentally discover them.
An alliance of
Same thing. They have the Reapers are treated exactly the same as they are in Mass Effect as they are in Star Trek. They even come by to wipe out all life. The same thing they do in Mass Effect.
Synthetic life, watching you, waiting for your signal.
They keep their existence hidden until the relay is activated.
Yeah, and Picard, it's a beacon, and Mass Effect is a relay used to call the Reapers. Both times, but there's two ways. In both series, there's a way to summon the Reapers. Someone has to do the summoning, and in both series, there are Reapers, and they're both immortal. They're both synthetic. They're both harp on them being synthetic life forms. I mean, the only difference here is that Star Trek Picard uses the word synth because it's got to be hip and edgy. We gotta shorten everything for Twitter. And Mass Effect, they use synthetic. All they do is just use the whole word in Mass Effect. That's the difference here. I think it's a fitting metaphor for the entire show. Picard is basically just a shorthand version of Mass Effect, a shortened, abbreviated version of Mass Effect. Alex, hello. EA did buy BioWare. Okay, yeah. I thought that was the case. This one I wasn't too sure. Gojira387, and we thought the problem with program life was that it was too logical. It turned out they would lack all they lack is rationality. Yeah, they have lots of logic, but logic does you no good if you have no rationality to go with it.
And the Reapers invade.
Summon us and we will come. You will have our protection. Your evolution will be their extinction.
We impose order on the chaos of organic evolution. You exist because we allow it, and you will end because we demand it.
The Reapers even have the same exact motivations to bring order to the universe, essentially. And Star Trek is to destroy all organic life so that synthetic life can evolve. In Mass Effect, it's the same thing. So that for the sake of synthetic life evolving. This is getting awfully. It's looking pretty bad for Star Trek Picard. Very, very bad. Let's see, Tyler Preston. NPCs say that that EVS ripped off Battletoads for Cyberfrog, but they're silent about this clear example of plagiarism. Yeah, I've seen Battletoads. Cyberfrog is nothing like Battletoads, but this is clear. Ripping this, they just played Mass Effect one day and said, "Okay, I just want an easy paycheck. Let's make Picard Mass Effect." Let's see here. Barry Bend and the Mega Man series, humans and reptoids live together in ZX series. Interesting. Okay, let's see what else they have to say.
I have no information on a Reaper. References to the term exist in some parahistorical theories on galactic extinction cycles.
What is Gamadan? What is the story?
It's just that. A story.
A story of the end.
Of?
Everything. Like Ragnarok or Judgment Day. An ancient myth.
In the galaxy, Reapers were once imagined as space monsters that consumed entire stars.
Some say it dates back from...
So that's what it is. The Reapers in Star Trek and the Reapers in the Mass Effect not only do the same thing, not only motivated by the same motivation, and not only do they come off as the same sort of arrogant, immortal type being, and not only are they both synthetic, going in for the, batting for a synthetic life. And not only is the idea about synthetic life and both of these about synthetic evolution, but the Reapers are both considered myths and stories in both respective universes. I mean, they're just taking everything. It couldn't be enough that they just existed and then we never heard about them before, and they have to find out about their mere existence from some wise sage or something. No, it's a story. It's a myth. It's a story, just like it is in Mass Effect.
From long before our ancestors first arrived on Vulcan. The story of Gamadan begins with two sisters, twin Kalagu.
On that one, I think that's true because Romulans are related. So I think they started off as Vulcans, and then there was a divide, and then there was a split. Okay, and the people who didn't want to follow the Vulcan philosophies went to they became Romulans, and Vulcans just remained Vulcans because apparently, according to lore, Vulcans were a very warlike species, very, very violent, very, very warlike. And the Romulans are the Vulcans that didn't want to concede to the new way of peace and logic. So yeah, I think that's actually spot on. I think.
Demons. Very bad demons.
One sister is called Sednatan. She plays a drum made from the skin of children.
Archaeologists who searched for the sources of such myths found little besides the themes of all-consuming devils that are common to primitive cultures.
They even call them devils and demons. They call them devils and demons in both continuities. It keeps getting worse and worse and worse.
The other sister is called
Sebshina. We know about her.
She carries a horn from a great pale hell beast called Gamadan. When she blows a blast on the horn, it will unleash all the Chahalagu who've been waiting since the beginning of time. The sky will crack, and through the crack in the sky, the Chahalagu will come ravening.
Ah yes, Reapers. The immortal race of sentient starships allegedly waiting in dark space.
You know about the 1,000 days of pain. The streets will be slick with entrails of half-devoured corpses. The worlds will burn. I believe it's history. And the fascinating thing about history is it always repeats itself.
50,000 years ago, the Reapers wiped out all galactic civilization. If Saren finds the conduit, it will happen again.
The pattern has repeated itself more times than you can fathom.
They even note the repeating pattern of, because this couldn't just happen once, like a warning. So they got maybe some Romulans got a warning one time, and it said, okay, we got to destroy synthetic life, because if we don't, then there'll be something bad happening. Some creatures will come from beyond the universe and destroy us. No, it couldn't be that. It has to be something that happened before in Star Trek, just like it happened in Mass Effect, something that happened more and more times before. So in Star Trek, apparently these creatures came and wiped out organic life for synthetic life, and I guess destroyed themselves or something. I don't know. Well, this is straight ripping off stuff. They're just ripping off everything from. I mean, it's blatant. It's very recognizable. It's very obvious that they are, but it goes deeper than the obvious. It seems.
Organic civilizations rise, evolve, advance. And at the apex of their glory, they are extinguished.
Although accurate information about
at the apex of their glory, they are extinguished. They are wiped out. Same thing as in Star Trek or Star Trek Picard.
the Reapers remains scarce, the galaxy now knows that the Reapers are not a myth. They are a real and devastating threat.
Apparently there are some sort of higher synthetic beings out there watching us.
Ah yes, Reapers.
We call those entities the Old Machines. Sovereign will override the Citadel systems and manually open the relay, and the cycle of extinction will begin again.
Dr. Soong and I have designed a suitable beacon to summon them. We can have it transmitting before the Romulan fleet arrives.
Saren wants to bring back the machines that...
That's one thing. If they know that they're going to destroy all life, why would you ever make that beacon? It's not going to save anyone. It's going to save the synthetics. It's going to destroy everyone else, though. That's why I think what's his name? Dr. Soong's son, the new Dr. Soong, is just as guilty as everyone else. He to me, Soji and Dr. Soong became bad guys by the end of Star Trek Picard. That's just how it is. That's just how they made them. But because they're written by SJWs and NPCs, they're written as heroes, as well-meaning heroes. Even though what they did so knowing that it would wipe out all organic life in the galaxy.
Wiped out all life in the galaxy? Impossible. It has to be.
Let's say they eliminate the threat of extermination that all organic life forms ultimately pose.
Did you just say all?
The Reapers won't stop at Earth. They'll destroy every organic being in the galaxy if we don't find a way to stop them.
And there's the major one. Yeah, they will come up and destroy all organic life in the galaxy. Yeah, and that was the little sample we saw, where they just straight up ripped off a sound effect from Mass Effect. So, what do you think, chat? I'll leave it up to you. I won't say they ripped off anything. To me, it seems like they did, but I'll leave you to make your own conclusions on that one. Let's see here. Gojira 387. Fear of AI is ever present because of how more interwoven tech becomes within our lives. But this adds nothing new or clever to the concept. This is a boring retread. Exactly. There's nothing new. They could have at least done this same old dynamic, but done something fresh with it, or done something different, done something Star Trek, uniquely Star Trek with it. They didn't. They just wiped out this. To me, this copied Mass Effect. And I'll leave the conclusions up to you, chat. But to me, it's clear as day that they just played Mass Effect and said, okay, we don't have to do any work if we rip this off. No one's played this for a long time, right? They won't notice. We did Star Trek Picard. We noticed. It was pretty blatant. You didn't even try to hide it. Pretty terrible. Anyway, chat. Anyway, I think we'll go ahead and close out the stream for today here. Again, apologies for being so late this morning. I had to do some technical difficulties, but I will not be late tomorrow morning. I will not be late. I'll be right on time, as usual. So, and also, Dr. Alpha Miracle Child has passed 37,000 on Indiegogo, if you didn't know. And I will be playing Doki Doki Literature Club, doing a continuation of Doki Doki Literature Club on Saturday. I'll be sure to let you know, give you plenty of time to plan or whatever. But yeah, on Saturday, Doki Doki Literature Club, because Dr. Alpha made 37,000, or passed it. So, thank you everyone for joining me. Hope you had a fantastic time despite my tardiness. I apologize for that. And in fact, I just jumped out in the middle of the stream because of more technical difficulties. I told you, chat, today's not my day. Today is not my day. And see, Benzi, yes, I'm back to you, bro. Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Appreciate that. I really do. Appreciate it. Appreciate every single one of the backers. Every single one of my backers. Awesome. And there's something, I have something big coming on for Dr. Alpha that's going to be coming in. Should be by the weekend. Something big is coming in by the weekend. I'll make an announcement. And today is going to be a nice big update for Dr. Alpha for all the backers. I'm going to be releasing some more pages, some more penciled pages. Because what we're doing with Dr. Alpha is we're penciling the pages first, so that every page can be greenlit. Because if we had so many drawn-in tiers, we want to make sure that all the drawn-in tiers are well met, are perfectly done, are done very well before we start doing all the inking and coloring. So all of the entire book is going to be penciled first, and then we'll do, that way everything is it's going to be fine, and everything looks good before we finalize everything. So nice. Look forward to a nice big update on Dr. Alpha today, and by the weekend I'll probably have another update with and then when that comes out, when I announce this big new event for Dr. Alpha, I'll be sending out another second chance for Lady Midnight comic, the digital version. So if you didn't back it if you didn't back it until after I sent it out the first time, unfortunately you didn't get it. But I'll send it out again because you're entitled to it. I want you to have it. I want you to have the Lady Midnight digital copy. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining me. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time. I really appreciate your patience. And I will see you all